That motion, is there a second? That motion is second, will the clerk please call roll?
Burgess.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Tate. Washington. Williams.
All right, motion to reconvene. We move to item number 3, public comment. All questions, comments must be directed to the mayor. Speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment. Each speaker will be allowed one opportunity to speak.
Mary Klopp. Just a comment. On Friday, May 20th, the plan group worked in conjunction with the Sauk Police Department for the annual Cop on Top Special Olympics event. The event was very successful. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to all the volunteers who helped make the event happen, especially to the Sauk Village Fire Department, Sauk Village ESDA, and Walgreens for allowing us to sit out in front. Without the volunteers, the event would not have been nearly as successful as it was. At the end of the day, over $2,100 was raised and will be donated to the Illinois Special Olympics. Once again, thank you to everyone who helped out.
All right, thank you very much. I know there's a lot of volunteers out there on that day, and I know the chief, you may have something to report, I'm not sure, but thank you very much for all the volunteers and plan. I saw you out there bright and early that morning. I stopped in your front with work, so. All right, next.
Larry Stewart, Sauk Village. A lot of issues have come up in the last week or two. One, do I live in Sauk Village? Yes, I do. Am I scared to be here? Yes, I am. You got a whole side of the village that's gunning for me in one way or another. Do I care? Not a bit. Because point blank, there's an election coming in less than 12 months. Will we make a difference? Count the kids outside. Just go look at it. Just look at it. Make you want to look at it. Well, I'll leave now while I got a chance. That's what you all should be thinking about. But the issue is, Saturday you had a cleanup. I see everything and I don't see black people.
Hey,
Ain't y'all surprised too?
great, you talk to this.
Yeah, but you let them speak so I can hear them. I hear it in the background. Unless you shut them up, don't shut me up. And this is real because you don't. You let them go on and on. I wonder why. Oh, I see why. Tell the difference at a glance. See, what I'm going to go on and on. Every week now I'm going to do this. Until you get the message. Don't worry about it. I got yours. But, as I was saying, this is 12 months or less than 12 months away. People are coming at my Parks and Recs agenda. They came at my housing. I was on housing for 8 years. You should get some of them grandfathered people off. They've been on too long. They don't even remember where they are today. Yeah, I've been on the senior committee. Should get them off totally. Ain't no black people there. None. And I mean none. Disputed. But the thing is, Sauk Village is 10,500 people. I don't see no black people. Once you said, man, go out, Larry, go out and get them. They don't want to be around you. They hear what you're doing with our government. Stop it. Make a difference. All of you all. Because we'll be in an election. Make a difference. Thank you.
All right, when it comes to the all right, first of all, when it comes to the racial comments, I'm not going to address those because, you know what, we're all residents here. When it comes to the village-wide cleanup, there was a large amount that came out. It could be jokes about that. A lot of my kids came out, so which I was glad that they came out. But you know, when you want to break down about by race, I mean, we had all races that were there. You know, Frank's here tonight. Frank, can you raise your hand so everyone see it? Because Frank was out there, and in fact, we had one gentleman that came in from Homewood that saw that he goes around communities and helps clean them up. and his name was,
Trenton.
what was it?
Keith.
Keith. It was Keith, so Keith came out, and again, he was an African American, but we had Hispanics out there, we had Caucasians, so the thing is, it was by volunteers. Volunteers came out to clean the village. I can tell you that we had Trustee Myers, even though his wife was sick, he was out there cleaning. Village Clerk Williams came out and helped. I can tell you that those are the ones on this board that I saw that came out and volunteered their time to come out and help clean up this village. There was a lot of work that was done, and all the entrances were cleaned up, so again, we appreciate the ones that came out, the ones that took pride in their community, and spent a little bit of time just to pick up a little bit of trash. We don't say that to participate you have to be of one race. It's open to everyone. So it concerns me that we've got people coming up making racial comments. Again, from the village of Sauk Village, and as your mayor, I apologize if the statements that were said, if it offends anyone, so I apologize for that. Move to next.
Jan Park from Sauk Village. I'm questioning under new business, 7, item J. When you appropriate something, don't you normally put it aside for a specific reason? Like if it was money, I would appropriate $500 for my mortgage, meaning I'm going to pay, put it aside. Is this correct? Okay, I'm sorry if you don't know. It says, making appropriations for all corporate purposes for the village of Sauk Village, blah, 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 blah. All corporate services, all corporate purposes for a year. Now, has the board talked about this at all? Has it been up for public discussion? I thought this had to be up for public discussion, or for people to comment, or for a certain list of items or monies that are going to be appropriated. That's all the questions I have on that one.
The question you bring up tonight about the appropriation of corporate purposes, first of all, there has been a budget hearing, which that is we approve the budget, and along with the budget, there's an appropriations ordinance that follows that budget for the amount of money that's going to be spent this next year, according to the budget, which will be approved. So they go hand in hand. One is a budget, and the appropriations of those funds that will be spent falls underneath the ordinance. So,
Okay, this is
All
all
right.
balanced then, I guess.
okay, next.
Budget's all balanced. Thank you.
Rose Langston. I just want to mention something about our Saturday event. We had the youth out here helping to serve, and I just want to let people know so they won't be saying anything. They would not even offer a drink or anything to eat, even though we had an abundance of food. They didn't want to take anything away from the seniors, and I do applaud them. They did a fantastic job. I also have a comment to make that at the last issue, a comment was made that a police officer was out checking on someone who was in a handicap parking, and the individual, the trustee, felt that that the police would have had a better job of doing something else rather than checking handicap. I thought, as a trustee, they took an oath that they would follow all government, state, and municipality rules, and that is one of our ordinance. You do not, or that's really a federal, you do not even park in handicap. So I do applaud the policemen for coming out and seeing the individual. Thank you.
All right. Next. Don't respond. Don't respond. Jim?
Should be asked, inasmuch as the last meeting did not have an actual budget hearing, and maybe I have it wrong, but I don't care how many times you discuss the budget, a budget hearing in all the years that I have been here, anybody could get up and ask questions, and they were not timed in doing so, and that's the purpose of the hearing. Therefore, I would like to suggest that the budget be tabled so that a proper hearing with the public can be held, and then present the vote to the board. Secondly, I was not here the night that the police were called for someone parking in the handicap, and I don't think that's exactly, people are getting the wrong impression. The problem was that neither person was parked illegally. Had the person calling the police had looked before they made the call, they wouldn't have had to pull an officer out of the street. That's all. So to make this a big deal is crazy. But I would like to suggest that the trustees table the budget until we can have a proper hearing.
All right, thank you very much. The public hearing was a proper hearing, and we followed the rules that are set forth. I think Trustee Williams had some good information, provided some good information talking about a public hearing and what a public hearing is for. I think one of the recommendations was only giving the public, approximately 2 minutes to speak. Our public was given 3 minutes to speak. So the board following, what used to be, again, we followed what a public hearing consists of, and again, we talked about the amount of time that things were out, and I went ahead and put a post out earlier talking about the amount of time it took to put a budget together, the amount of meetings that we had. The finance committee had meetings, the village board had budget meetings, and the public had opportunity to speak at that. The public had opportunity to look at a budget for nearly almost 30 days. The village board had longer than that to look at the budget. We had the public hearing where the public had the opportunity to speak again, and we did exactly what we were supposed to by state law. Again tonight, before it's voted on, the public had the opportunity to speak, and during this time, the public had the opportunity to put anything, questions and comments in writing. They also had the opportunity for over 30 days, I think it was, to come and make an appointment or ask questions to the finance director at the front desk, through the village administrator or myself. During that time, there was no questions or comments that came to the front desk. Nothing came through the mail. Nothing came through any type of emails. There was no voicemails that was left on any of our phones for the budget, to make sure the budget was available through the front desk, through the library. We put it on the village website. So we did over and above. I think the legal time of only having the budget available was 10 days, right? 10 days is what legally we had to do. That budget was available for almost 30 days, I think probably 29 days or something like that. So, we went over and above this year, making sure that it was available to the public, making sure that the public had comments. I had one time where I had to meet the mayor, where the public was allowed to come and ask any questions, and make sure I was available. I even answered some afterwards. So there was a lot of times that the public had the opportunity. So, next.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. I'm actually going to ask, I'm trying to enlist the aid of actually all of it. There was a seminar brought to my attention regarding collegiate preparation. I personally think it's a good thing as far as letting our children know that there are seminars or whatever that are available to let them know about, what do you call it, financial aid, scholarships, grants, things of that nature. Anyway, make a long story short, this impact, that's what they're called. They're providing a seminar July 30th, and I believe it's at Tinley Park. Now, what I would like to do is I'm trying to find ways to put this information out into the neighborhood of Sauk Village. Okay, now, thing is, unfortunately, I only have 2 copies. So I was going to ask if it's at all possible, if each one of you could maybe make a few copies so that I could have them to put in the stores. And I mean, I'm going to purchase some copies myself. But I'm just saying I could really use the help, and I don't know anything other than that to say.
Thank you. Trustee?
There's a July Sauk Talk that'll be out before then, and if you could provide the Public Relations Committee with a copy of the flyer, we'll make sure that it's in the Sauk Talk. The village clerk, I'm sure, can e-blast it to make sure that that goes out that way. And, I mean, Public Relations, we can make copies for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Pass out, we can put some in the back and everything, so.
so you can take care of making sure she gets copies. So if you can just make sure, Trustee Williams will make sure you get copies after the meeting. If you can make sure the village clerk gets at least 1 copy, so that she can get it out on an e-blast, we'll make sure it goes on the village website, and make sure that it gets inside Sauk Talk, and see what every other ways we can do to make sure the information gets out.
You did say the end of July, right? Because the Sauk
Yes,
Talk will
July.
also be beginning of July.
Actually, July 30th.
Okay.
And it's in Tinley Park, too.
All right? So if
Okay. It's
you just-
free, did I say that?
Yeah.
That's good.
If you just see Trustee Williams afterwards, and she'll make sure that everything is taken care of.
Will do.
All right?
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. All right, next.
My name is Jackie Blaze. I am on the committee that was out on Saturday helping to clean up the village. I've lived here for 43 years. I really am proud of this village. Most of our board members showed up except for 4. Apparently those 4 board members don't care what the village looks like. So I do applaud the other board members and the 20 other people that showed up. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to reports of officers. We've got the mayor's report. All right. There's a bunch of stuff going on this year. First of all, tonight, the 2016-2017 budget is before the village board. Again, we've already mentioned the amount of time that the budget has been out. So, again, we have received no information from the board, no questions, no comments. I would hope that the board would go ahead and vote this through tonight. There is, if you go to the mayor's blog and to the mayor's Facebook page, you'll see that there's a hazardous waste drop-off. There's some dates. So if you have any hazardous waste, we get that information. I'll make sure it gets to the village clerk to get out in an e-blast. There is a free summit for South Suburban landlords. That's coming up on June 7th. That's from 8:30 to 3 p.m. Again, that information again is on the mayor's blog and also on the mayor's Facebook page. We'll get that out also in a, I think I had a copy of that right here, but we'll make sure we get a copy of that to the e-alert. There's going to be a Memorial Day service here at the Village Hall at 10 a.m. on May 30th for anyone that would like to come. Again, that's on Memorial Day itself at 10 a.m. And I just want to say congratulations to one of our attorneys, Felicia Frazier. She was featured in the Chicago Lawyers Magazine under the Women in Law edition. So if you would just pass that off to Felicia, congratulations for that. So, the other thing too, as I have, is I would ask for a motion to appoint Chuck Thompson to the Police and Fire Commission. Is there a motion to approve? Got a motion, is there a second? Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call the roll.
Burgess.
No.
Jones.
No.
Myers.
Yes.
Tate.
No.
Washington. Yes. Williams. Yes.
And Mayor votes yes. All right. Move to Village Clerk. It's Debbie Reyes.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Mayor. First of all, I received a call today that the Leisure Timers is having their annual ice cream social tomorrow at 4 p.m. and they're asking that the board members attend. And second of all, the Village Hall will be closed Monday, May 30th in observance of Memorial Day. There will be no board meeting next Tuesday because it is a fifth Tuesday unless there's a special meeting called. We're reserving spaces for vendors to set up behind the Village Hall after the July 2nd parade, approximately 1:30 p.m. Registration is also available to reserve a space for your committee, business, or community organization for the National Night Out event scheduled for Tuesday, August 2nd, behind the Village Hall from 5 to 9 p.m. Please contact me at 708-753-5121 to reserve a space. There is no fee to register for a space for either event, however, pre-registration is required. You must provide your own tables and chairs. Register for free official Sauk Village email alerts at www.saukvillage.org. The free rain barrel program is back. Applications are available at the Village Hall. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery of the rain barrels. Recent board discussions and innuendos that I'd like to address. Board packets are distributed at the committee of the whole meetings. Board members can retain these documents after they are reviewed by the board for the board meeting the following week where the board may or may not take action. Documents are not reprinted and attached to the board agenda unless the board has reviewed and requested changes to said documents. At no time have I, or ever will I, alter a document without board approval after they've reviewed those documents. All board agendas are posted in the front hallway and in the individual mailboxes no less than 48 hours prior to all board meetings. If trustees cannot make their way to the Village Hall to pick up their board packets, they can access the agenda at www.saukvillage.org no later than 7 p.m. Sunday or earlier if a special meeting is called. All committees must follow the same Open Meetings Act guidelines. Several allegations of Open Meetings Act violations have been reported to the Attorney General that could have been avoided. Previously, I suggested that everyone post on the windows at the east side of the building and on the community center door, as well as both cork strips to assure making sure it was visible. This is not being done. Placing other papers in front of your agenda makes the agenda not visible. As the Open Meetings Act officer, I will not police that meetings are posted properly and that you are following the procedures set aside by the Act, but must follow up on complaints that are brought to my attention. The word petty was used last week when referring to complaints that have been made in certain instances. I would like to address 2 Open Meetings Act violations that have been made recently with regards to the posting of the agenda. The meeting on February 2nd was canceled due to a false allegation by Joseph Wiswadi that the agenda was not posted timely. That allegation was proven to be false when I informed him that I had video footage of me posting the agenda in the hallway. Unfortunately, the same allegation was lodged against me by Trustee Tates, who took it a step further and submitted this allegation to the Attorney General for review. Again, the tape was pulled showing me walking back and forth through the hallway, posting all 3 agendas. This tape was sent to the Attorney General, along with the detail of exactly when the agenda was posted on the website, and that agenda was then placed in everybody's box at that time. We have been told that we cannot air out our differences in executive session, so I'd like to take this opportunity to express how I feel about these petty and false allegations placed against me. My door is always open to board members and residents alike. Please do not believe everything you hear or see without taking the time to investigate the validity of any accusations. It is my desire to work cohesively with everyone for the good of the residents and not to play out personal vendettas. With that being said, I've been asked to address Joe Wiswani's claim that I spent the taxpayers' money on a trip to the Building One America trip to Washington almost 3 years ago. I personally think it's petty to keep falsehoods alive since the trip to Washington did not start costing residents money until Joe Wiswani kept us in court for 2 years and racked up attorney's fees only to find out that the statement I made at the beginning was true. Ask him to prove otherwise. Perfect example of petty. There you go, Joe. The trip to Washington didn't cost the residents any money on my behalf. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Trustee.
I just have a question. I know that it's just been kind of an issue as far as board packets and people not getting things in their packet. And I know that we've talked about, Mr. Fairman was going to present the possibility of, I don't remember at this point if there were doors or something that were going to cover our little cubby holes back there or something like that. I know people are saying they come up here, stuff gets taken out of their mailboxes, they can't get here on time, they don't know about the special meeting agendas. this is not gonna be a popular suggestion, but I'm gonna throw it out there. When I first became a trustee, the board packets were delivered. We stopped, and they were delivered by the police department Friday night. We stopped doing that because we didn't want to take man hours from the police department to deliver packets, and I understand that. But just because there's been so many complaints about people saying they don't have certain things, they didn't get it on time, blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm sure it's not a popular idea, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Because that way, the packets are done, they're out, whatever. If there's any changes, I know sometimes the agenda doesn't get approved or doesn't get finalized until, Saturday or Sunday. If there's any additions, then I think that maybe we can look at how that's gonna work, but again, it's a suggestion. So avoid having to install doors and locks and video cameras and an eyeball scanner to get anything from the doctors. So that's just my suggestion.
All right, thank you very much. Move to village attorney, Attorney Matt Burton.
Just a couple things to report tonight. We had a recent decision from the Illinois Appellate Court finding in favor of the village. This case involved a former police officer who was contesting his final paycheck after he resigned. And the circuit court and appellate court both found that the village payroll department improperly calculated the final check. So that was good news. That case was dismissed and judgment was entered in favor of the village. Also for item 7H on tonight's agenda, there just needs to be a correction to change the date from April 26th to May 10th. That's all. Thanks.
All right, move to village engineer, Mr. Burdick.
Thank you, Mayor. Robinson will start the work required for the MWRD for infiltration and inflow reduction in mid-June, so just a few weeks from now. It will start by conducting manhole inspections to identify defects that are allowing stormwater into the structures. By eventually eliminating this flow, the likelihood of sanitary sewer overflows and basement backups will be diminished. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Trustee.
Mrs. Zarnik, we talked about, anyway, the street, Torrance Avenue, right past the second railroad track going north. On both sides of the track, there are large potholes. I know you did it for us about 2 years ago, had CN or someone else to come out and fill them in. Now they're back and they're really deep now. And I'm just wondering, I'm sure you would know who to talk to, what government body, I don't know if it's Cook County or if it's Illinois, the Illinois IDOT. But if it's possible, would you let us know so they can, so we can know what we can do, because it's really getting deep. I don't think our public works, that doesn't even fall on our public works, so they wouldn't be able to do that. But it is something that's, I'm sure when whoever comes into the village from the north side, come down Torrance Avenue, you can see the potholes, and then if you leave the village, you see because you're ducking them. So if that's something that we can kind of look at, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. We'll just dig out the contact info from a couple of years ago, and they were great. They repaired the tracks very quickly after we contacted them before. Hopefully, we'll get a similar result.
Thank you.
Mr. Zarnik, I was wondering if we could have a road mitigation meeting sometime soon. I don't know where we kind of left off in the process and where we are, but if we could just have some sort of like update and see, I don't know if you want to send out email maybe and see when we can all get together, but kind of keep that process going.
Absolutely.
Trustee Murphy.
Tim, all that work done on 394 and Sauk Trail, the whole intersection and stuff, and everything, that was all through IDOT, correct?
Yes.
So everything went there was all the decision IDOT, including the asphalt sidewalks and everything, that's all IDOT decision, correct?
At that intersection, that was all I got. Yes.
Thank you.
Move to IME, Village Administrator, Public Safety Director, J.W. Fairman.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the only comment I have is, talking about the office visit this week, is that we still are looking forward to the the budget committee to approve the upgrade of this civic system. It is vitally important for us to keep track of what needs to be kept in terms of everything in the village that people pay for and/or, pay out, to vendors and everybody else. And that's in my report.
Thank you, sir. Move to item number 5, reports of trustee.
Administrative Colonel. There was something mentioned a couple of months ago, or meetings ago, that there was something being done about the debt service obligation, reduction of the debt service obligation. What is the status of that?
Well, trustee. Trustee takes, we're still working on that. We're going to meet with some more people outside. We don't have a final conclusion on that or recommendation at this time.
Okay, the second thing, I'm not sure if you were at the last meeting or two. There was some conversation about the crime rate being reduced 57% in Sauk Village. And you had mentioned that earlier in one of your reports. Could you give us an idea of the kind of things that can be done or that were done to help reduce our crime 57%?
Well, I think that question should be more appropriately asked or answered by the Chief of Police, Mr. Kowalski.
So the Uniform Crime Report is based on 8 criminal acts that occur. I don't have all of them verbatim. It's like murder, rape, auto theft, and the reduction came after a review of the information put into the system, the New World system, and now the CAPER system, by the police officers. So all we did was we regurgitated what the officers put in, and we found that whoever put the information in prior to us, we just corrected it.
So it wasn't a crime reduction, it's a reporting that caused the reduction.
There's both, because remember.
Well, it's both, okay, because it was over-reported.
So if you look at the numbers, when they talked about reduction of 57%, that's a reduction of time between January and April of 2015 and January and April of 2016. So those are the actual 57% during that time right there.
So back to my original question, what was done to attribute the reduction of crime 57%?
A review of the records. A review of the records.
So it's the reporting.
It was the reporting. That's what I said.
No, that's what I said in the mirror.
No, and that's what I said. No, that's what I said. It was over-reported.
Okay, so the original report
was over-reported.
Over-reported.
Correct.
And now it's correct.
Correct.
And those two numbers, or series of numbers,
right,
there's a 57% decrease in them.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Move to trustees and board committees, education committee. I can bring this up. Hang on a second. All right, beautification committee. Beautification committee would like to thank all the volunteers that came out on Saturday, May 21st for the cleanup. A small dent was made on the garbage that collects in all locations of the town. The beautification committee would like to see an ordinance put in place for the businesses that have dumpsters. The ordinance would be for that the lids must be closed at all times and they need to be cleaned up around the dumpsters if there are any garbage that have accumulated around it. If they fail to abide by the ordinance, then a ticket should be issued. The committee will follow up for the property that is between Walgreens and the daycare center. The company that owns that property claims it will be cleaned by May 30th. So the beautification committee will follow up. The beautification committee will also be hosting the community flea market and craft show on June 4th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the community center. Committee still has applications out in the hallway of the Village Hall. Any questions, please leave a message at the Village Hall at 708-758-3330. Again, the committee is always looking for volunteers and new members. That is the report. All right, move to Parks and Recs Committee, Trustee Jones.
Parks and Recs will be holding another registration for the summer camp, and that will be this Saturday, May the 28th, from noon to 2. There also will be open gym, which is always the last Saturday of the month. That will be from 11 to 3, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing I would like to report on, we did have a water plant tour, our committee, and it was very enlightening, very educational. We toured well number 3, I'm sorry. We toured well number 3. We watched how the chemicals are being used, the security of the plant itself, how the process works, how the air strippers work. It's very enlightening. I'm not going to go into all that now. You can come to our meetings, which is every second Wednesday, and I can go over that with you because it's a pretty lengthy process. But it's really something, and a lot of people talk about the water itself. I used to work in a water plant, and believe me, this plant here is very, 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 very clean. I don't know if they're prepared for us coming, but it looked brand new. So, and the airstrip is quite naturally brand new. Also, we discussed in our meetings about high grass overgrowth and how that lowers our property value when you go throughout the village and you see those things. As you can see, we only have one person that's out there doing code, and that one person cannot do it all because they do industrial, commercial, and residential. So that's kind of hard to overcome for one person. If anyone needed to have somebody in that department, that would be the person. Also, we've talked about, as a committee, discussions about the hydrants being flushed and about notification. And we did, as I kind of precluded earlier, I think it was 2 meetings ago, about signs put out on the streets. We're still talking about that, how we would sell that to the public works and to the board. But we're not going to stop pursuing that because that's something I think we can do. It's a visual effect. If you know that there's somebody in your area, flushing your area, then when you drive home or come out to go to work and you see that sign, you know not to cut your water on. So that's something that we did talk about. Our next meeting will be June 8th here in Village Hall at 7 o'clock. Also, Mayor, I understand that there's listening devices here in the Village Hall and I guess in all of the boardrooms because that was mentioned. But I'm just wondering, and this is something that I'm asking you as the mayor, do we have listening devices or cameras where our mailboxes are located? If so, then it wouldn't be hard to check tape if you see somebody going in the box or something. That's something we could really pursue rather than trying to put boxes or covers on top of them. Because we do have listening devices in the Village Hall here and in the boardroom. I'm sorry, in the committee rooms. And I'm just wondering, do we have one? And I'm asking the mayor and Mr. Fairman, could we look into that? Because I do know that there are listening devices. It's also said that we sweep the village. So if we do that, we can include that mail room too. That's all I have. Thank you.
First of all, trustee, I have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about listening devices. I know of no listening devices in any rooms. I have no idea what you're talking about. When it comes to the mail room, there is one camera on the mail room. It's in the hallway. So when you go down the hallway, look straight up, you'll see it facing straight toward the door. That's the only thing I know about.
But you mentioned the mayor in your meet the mayor that you did a sweep here and that you did a sweep because you felt things were being leaked. You mentioned that.
Oh, there's,
So if
there's
that,
no doubt that there was a sweep done because
Okay,
there
so
was,
it's-
there was something leaked out, especially when information that was only being provided to the board in the executive session room, and the information was out before we all made it home. I felt that there had to be a leak since the village board all swore up and down that they did not tell the information after they left the room, so.
but how can you make a sweep?
There was a sweep, but again, you're talking about something that was done, what, a year ago?
Okay, but how can you make a sweep if there's no devices in that room? You just can't walk in there and just pull it out of thin air. There's got to be something there that you could record and play back. I don't
The
know.
sweep is to see if there was any listening devices, to see if anything could be found. So, but I have no
Okay.
idea what you're talking about listening
No, I
devices.
just know what I know what you said.
There's none.
This is what you reported, sir. I was just asking you, can we do something like that in that room?
Well, we
Or
have,
can we use, because there are listening devices here. in the
we
room.
have no listening devices, so. All right, anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess, I noticed, well, a couple of minutes ago, we talked about the flushing of fire hydrants. And the information we've been given is the north side of the building is going to be done at one time, the south side is a different time. And the question of signs for hydrant flushing was also brought up, and I'm not sure how that died or what happened with that. But the reason I'm asking this question is, in the past couple of weeks, I've seen that not only Creek, but Park Forest have signs they place up when there's hydrant flushing, so the residents and the visitors driving through know that's occurring. Is that something your committee is looking into, having done here, so that we can put up some type of signs to notify the residents?
That's what I was stating, that we did discuss it. As a matter of fact, I did talk to Kevin about it, but we need more information to bring to him to discuss it. It's a discussion. It's not a dead issue. It's still a discussion with the Public Works Director about it, and we're just working right now. It's a process, and you know.
Okay, does your committee have a copy of the schedule of which areas have been flushed already? Because I'm getting calls of people saying that their area has not been flushed. So if I've got, if I have a copy of the schedule that shows me Orion or Jeffrey or whatever streets where hydrants were flushed, when I talk to the residents, I can have something to refer back to.
Okay, there is a copy here. I don't have it in front of me, but there is a copy, and I'm sure you can get one in Village Hall, well, the front desk, stating where they're at right now, because it'll determine on what time of month it is. And I don't know exactly off the top of my head. I know Kevin is sitting right here. He may be able to tell you when he does his report. But they do flush in different areas at different times of the year, and they flush. Supposedly they flush until it's been done. They try to do it at night in the evening, where it's least effective. But I still like to see, as you stated before, sign out there, something to kind of let people know that your quadrant or your block or whatever is being flushed, or has been flushed, or is in the process of being flushed. So when you do either come home or you leave out, you can kind of let someone know that that's happening. So no, we're working on that as we speak now.
Well, I have some information for you that I'll share with you about the signage.
Okay.
That your committee may want to utilize.
And just show me to make sure that we're clear, the posting was in the Sauk Talk, it's on the clerk's board in the back, it's on the village website. We've put the posting out on the mayor's blog, we e-blasted it, and we've also put it out on the mayor's Facebook page. So the information is out there and has been provided to the residents.
What happens if you don't have a computer?
It was in Sauk Talk, it was
What happens
posted.
if you don't have a computer?
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you don't, some people only come up here just to pay their water bill. They don't come, they may not have time to come and get a Sauk Talk. If they don't have a computer, there's a lot of people that don't have a computer even on their phone. So it's a visual thing, Mayor. If you can see that, you visualize everything else. If you can see that they're actually doing this, and it could be like we put our caution signs. It's only 5 or 6 signs, but as I stated, I'm talking to Kevin about it. So I'm sure he's going to come and tell you, And I guess we have to vote on it, but that's just something we're talking about right now as a visual aid.
All right, anything else? All right, Housing and Intergovernmental Committee.
On May 12th, we had our housing and intergovernmental meetings here at Village Hall. We're still working on doing some, Trustee Burton and I are looking at revising the resident handbook that residents receive when they come in the Sauk Village that tells them what's what and who's who and what telephone to call that will help them acclimate themselves to Sauk Village. So we made some suggestions. He and I have done some suggestions, and we're going to do some more, and then we'll submit those to try to update that manual a little bit. On intergovernmental, we also met, and that dovetailed into the intergovernmental, I can't remember the acronym, the intergovernmental group, team group that gets together every month. And that involves a representative from the library board, from the school district, and we also had Chief Kowalski was there, excuse me, our fire chief was there, Trustee Myers was there with the one previous. But there's a lot of individuals involved in trying to figure out the best way to approach some things for the youth in Sauk Village. Some recommendations were made, and unfortunately, our representatives, or other representatives from the fire and police, had comments on the recommendation, which showed that it would not work at this particular time. And those were cadet programs. And it was not that they said we don't need it or they will never have it, it's just the timing is not right to install these type of programs. But that kind of conversation was held with everyone commenting and keying in on that. And I think it's a good group of people. We received information from Bloom Township that we did not have. So for intergovernmental, that worked real well with all taxing bodies, and 3 taxing bodies in Sauk Village were able to sit down at the table to discuss common goals. Bloom Township came in and was able to discuss how they can assist us, more so than how we can assist them, how they can assist us in some of the programs that we want to put on. I think if this group continues as it is, I can't imagine it growing more than it has. There were about 12 people there, roughly. So I can't imagine getting any larger. But everyone was there, and they brought input from their perspective on things we need to do, things that we could do to help our young people in Sauk Village. And I think it was a positive thing about it, to do something for the youth. Hopefully that'll keep them from doing things that are negative and have an adverse impact on themselves and their families. It was just a real good meeting. Intergovernmental is still working with surrounding communities to get some information. As I stated to Trustee Burgess earlier, our Crete and Park Forest have signs that they placed out for hydrant flushing. And if they need our assistance, we can certainly get involved in that and give them some information on how those signs work for their residents to keep them informed of hydrant flushing. But that's just an example of working with other communities that hopefully will better Sauk Village. And that's what intergovernmental is basically about at this time. I had some questions before this meeting of people that talked about intergovernmental, and I will answer those individually and at the conclusion of this meeting to tell you about intergovernmental and how it's impacted on Sauk Village. That's all I have.
Okay. Public Safety and Orders Review Committee, Trustee Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple things. First of all, I want to thank everybody that prayers for my wife. She went through the first surgery. They had one more to go through in about 4 months. She goes back to through it. It was a rough fight there. As everybody knows, my kids kept to get through my before we transferred her to the University of Chicago. Her kidneys started shutting all the way down, and she had her white cell contents was triple what it should be, and she was losing around quickly. We live in Chicago, got her up there, fantastic hospital, that's all I gotta say. Fantastic. Those guys, I got in there, found the problem. She had the one done at over here in, I believe, Maryville, and the other surgeon came in one night, said, you know what, we're going to deal with this one here and bring her back in and do her own outpatient surgery. So she did not have to have the exploratory surgery that they talked about, which were later up for a couple of months. Second note, there will be a subcommittee meeting of the safety ordinance review on April 26th, 7 p.m. Here we'll have 3 ordinances we'll be reviewing in turn from the police department. They're revising the towing ordinance and also the part-time police officer. And one of the ordinances that during budget review, we discovered that there was nothing to say that named where these funds go to except for general. Well, this ordinance will say where they will go to, and have a line item that will say where. Well, that, I know that's several trustees up there will go for that. So that no longer will go to where these to general fund, and we've got to fund name for those.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm talking. My phone. How's that? There you go. So, we're ending, like I said, we're going to have a review here, and it's for the police department, and it's going to be for the towing, part-time police officer, and the fees for the towing. And I'll be here 7 p.m. to April 26th. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Oh, no, May, you're right, May 26th. Yeah, or John, May 26th, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Trustee? Trustee Myers, you said there will be a hearing here? Did you say there will be a hearing here for the ordinance?
No, I didn't say there was hearing. We're going to be meeting here as a committee to review these ordinances that the chief has turned in to us to review, and then I will bring it back to the board as our procedures, and then we'll discuss it in a committee meeting, and then we'll take it from that step there. But yeah, I know there's a couple of good things in there that I know you and I were hoping for. So, but the days where some of these funds goes, they won't get away from us again. All right, thank you.
All right, to Neighborhood Watch, Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things. First of all, I want to remind everyone that we'll be having our regular meeting on June the 13th at the fire station. We always meet the second Monday of every month. This coming month of June will be our first meeting for our Junior Neighborhood Watch. We're very excited about that program kicking off for the summer for the months of June, July, and August. If there are any young people that you know in the grades between 6th grade and 12th grade, they can be a part of our Junior Neighborhood Watch program. Also, we're going to be passing out flyers about our back-to-school book bags at Rick Over doing their regular back-to-school bash. They have outdoor food, and they have the different games for the young people to play that's coming back to school for the school year. So we're going to be in the gym distributing our 500 book bags for school supplies this year with a collaboration with the school. So our committee is working very, very hard to make that happen, to get those book bags purchased as well as to get the supplies to go in them. So if you know anyone that want to donate any supplies, they can drop them off here at the Village Hall any day during the regular business hours. Also, our committee with Neighborhood Watch is hosting our second annual Safety Prevention for Businesses in Sauk Village, where will be inclusive of all the businesses, the churches, and the school administrators. We're going to have our meeting here on Friday, July the 1st. I gave those letters to the board last time we had a meeting to let them be apprised of that event that we're going to be hosting, and we're going to have it right here in the Village Hall like we did last time, and the businesses have been getting their letters and they've been responding, so we're looking forward to that event as well this summer. Finally, I would just like to make a comment in regard to
residents that also contacted me about some things that were put out on social media about WINPAC that is doing the addition in Sauk Village. They read somewhere where, on Facebook, where none of the elected officials were even invited to come to WINPAC for the groundbreaking ceremony. And they sent it to my phone to read some of the article. I read some of it. It really was just so full of lies. It was incredible. And then I get the Sauk talk, and I see on the very first page that the mayor and the village administrator are at the groundbreaking for WINPAC. So I just want to say to all the residents, you have people that bully and that lie. That's a part of our Neighborhood Watch bullying campaign. That's what people do. I teach young people that, I mentor that. You cannot be thrown off your quote-unquote, as we talk to young people, square by people that are malicious and that are insightful and that just make up blatant lies, and those that will rally around to contribute to the lie. We tell young people this all the time to stop them from fighting. They say that this is going to be a very hot summer all over the south suburbs as well as Chicago. I try to diffuse young people from being insightful and engaging in bullying, but it's so hard when they see adults do it as well. People go on Facebook, I tell young people all the time, even I'll tell them this in Neighborhood Watch as we're meeting with them with our Junior Neighborhood Watch program. You cannot be accountable for what people say about you. You can only be accountable for what you say about them. I've heard and I've seen a few things. I just laugh about what people say about me, whether it's on Facebook or social media, because I think that sometimes, as I tell young people, everyone has an opinion. You have an opinion of them, and people have an opinion of you, and it's just a matter of how you choose to express it. So I always encourage young people to take the high road. Let people say whatever they want to say, do whatever they want to do. This article is a prime example. We were not invited to the groundbreaking ceremony of WINPAC. We didn't know nothing about it. They are expanding in Sauk Village without our knowledge. On the front page of the Sauk Talk, we are very well represented at the addition being made. Just a lie. And it's amazing to me how people lie, and people love to listen to lies, but that's what liars do. So I want to say, in conclusion to my report, I want to encourage people that work with the businesses and that go to the businesses, don't listen to false accusations. We are trying to build up Sauk Village. We're trying to turn the perception of our village around. So stick with the positive and just let the negative stay with the negative people.
Trustee Washington House, you had mentioned the Junior Neighborhood Watch program that you started. And as you may recall, last year you had talked about Junior Neighborhood Watch, and I had voiced some concerns about that program. And I had asked for legal or our attorney to give some perspective of liability for that. Only because I have concerns that when we have young people doing neighborhood watch type activities, that's going to subject them to bullying or worse. So I have a concern that when we talk about 6th to 12th graders out talking about what's going on in their neighborhoods, things that they see or know, I think that puts them in a bad position where they're going to become targets of aggression from the wrongdoers who are going to think they're tattletale. They're snitching on it. And I had asked legal to give some perspective on what our liability was having a Junior Neighborhood Watch. Adults can do what they want to do. I think our young people is a different subject. And I think that as adults, we have to be cognizant of putting our children, deliberately putting them in the line of danger, let's say. That's the way I look at it. And so I'm concerned about that, and I just want to know what our liability as a village is when we have children out here participating in Junior Neighborhood Watch, and should something happen to that child while they're doing that. And I was wondering if you've had a chance to review that with your committee, talk about it with your committee. What's your perspective on that?
That's a good question, Trustee Tace, and the attorney did share that with me. And just to let you know, I repeated this before, and I will repeat it again tonight. The students that are working with Junior Neighborhood Watch are not going to be in the community doing anything that's going to endanger them. They are going to be working with adults that are already Black Club captains to identify mostly vacant homes on the blocks, writing down addresses, working among each other with our coordinator, Ms. Tammy Jones, and myself, along with other Black Club captains, just to teach them about the community. We have not finished the entire program. Every month we'll be adding different things based on what they want to do. But being in education for 30 years and knowing the parameters set around children being safe, I would never put anybody's child, not even my own, in a position to be where they would be considered a snitch or a tattletale, get them in any kind of in any kind of situation where they feel a need to defend them being on the program. To me, the question is not so much what they're going to be doing, but it's how the program is going to be structured. This is another opportunity that we feel as a committee to have something in the village that would get the young people off the streets and keep them involved. Most of the young people that's involved in the program, their parents are already Black Club captains. We also have young people that have nowhere to go in the summer, nothing to do in the summer that's going to be a part of the program, and they're going to be working not just doing our business that we have, but we're going to do things with them on other dates. But at no time will they ever be any different than when they go on field trips in schools, when they have chaperones and any place else where adults are that know how to supervise young people. They're not going to be doing nothing dangerous. They're not going to be telling anything. They're not going to be putting anything in documentation form and signing their name or being videotaped doing anything that could cause them to remotely be in danger of being bullied or be perceived to be bullying or have a need to be snitching on the community. That's not what the program is about.
So if they're aware of neighborhood break-ins, or they're not going to report any of that information?
No more than what they report to their parents when they go home from school every day right now. No more than what they call and tell their friends or their teachers what they know and see right now. If they tell us something, we'll act on it, but it's not going to be their responsibility to call the police or to take it any further than to let us know what they may see or what they may know, like they do their teachers or any other adults that they are assigned to. Whether it's at the community center, whether it's in a senior program and they are serving lunches and they may hear something to tell one of the seniors that's there, any other adult that they may deem reliable enough for them to feel confident in talking to. It's not structured like that.
Okay, so there is, as far as you're concerned in your program, there's no liability for the village having the children involved?
Absolutely none.
All right, thank you.
All right, move to reports to departments, committees, and commission. I'm sorry, no, back step. I already marked you off, sorry. That was a long conversation. Back to Budget, Finance, and Community Relations Committee, Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee met today, and we did discuss the budget that's on the agenda for voting today, as well as, I know that a couple meetings ago, we had some issues that were brought up regarding payroll, and kind of our systematic issues that we, as a board, kind of discovered that we did talk about ways the village could possibly assist with that. And we also talked about the aging report and how to move forward from there. So we are requesting for our next meeting, it would be June 6th, barring any special meetings or anything like that. We are requesting that the mayor, the village administrator, and the finance director be present so we can discuss specifically payroll and the aging report and how we can move forward with that. Also, the Community Outreach Partnership Committee will be meeting June 4th at 6 p.m. Again, barring any special meetings or executive sessions or anything. Because as a reminder, National Night Out is the first Tuesday in August, which will be August 2nd. It is August 2nd, it will be August 4th. August 2nd. And so please look forward to lots of information coming out about that. And if anybody would like to help or participate with that, please let myself know or the village clerk. And also, the Community Outreach Partnership, I see some committee members in the audience, so I want to just throw out there now, if you guys can keep National Night Out schedule in your mind, as well as the 60th anniversary committee. Projects, things like that, keep that in your mind. That's what we'll be discussing. That's all I have.
Again, that's 8 on June 6th. What time is it?
To accommodate everybody's schedule, if we could do 6 o'clock.
Okay. I'll be here on here.
Okay.
Question.
Trustee
Williams, Cops Night Out, we can have a table out there, like an informational table?
The only thing we ask is that if anybody wants to have an informational table, to make sure that you let myself know or the village clerk know, so that we know who to expect, how many to set up for, space issues and all that, just so we can know.
Right.
And put you on the flyer.
Right. Now we move to reports of departments, committees, and commissions. Fire Department, 911 Commission, Chief Stoffagen.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the past 2 weeks, Fire Department responded to 22 calls. Fire Department responded to 1 vehicle accident, 9 fire alarms, 1 medical assist, 1 electrical fire. We had 3 assists to other agencies, 2 CO calls, 2 gas leaks, 1 box alarm, 1 washdown, and 1 odor investigation. I know a lot of people today seen the big old black header that was coming out of Fort Heights. The tire plant over there caught on fire. In fact, up until a couple hours ago, they were still fighting it. It's going to be a couple, 3 days before they get to the seat of that fire. But at no time was the village affected at all. We had a couple of our firefighters, we were out of 1 call, and they requested a couple of people if I could spare them, so they were out there for about 3 hours. And then right before the board meeting tonight, we got a box alarm. They wanted our engine and our aerial. And I called them back, said, they got to pick one. I can't send both. And then at that time of day, I had to take a pass because the town is, excuse me, it's my responsibility to make sure the town is covered. So we had to take a pass. We couldn't send anybody. Also, I'd like to inform the board at the last board meeting that following Friday, we had the firemen out on the street along with ESPA for the kids' burn camp. And I'd like to inform you that the fire department raised $1,600 for the kids' burn camp. And I'd like to say a big thank you to all the people who are participated and all the people that have donated. This was a great success. The check has already been sent off to them, and I'm sure they're going to be very appreciative. And that's my report.
Thank you. Great job, Chief. Move to Police Department, Chief Kowalski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees. For the past 2 weeks, the department had a total of 15 arrests, 5 were felonies, 10 were misdemeanors. They also secured several warrants for individuals that weren't caught yet. For the period, we've had 612 calls, some cases of interest. On May 12th, officers responded to a domestic disturbance. They found that the victim was assaulted by her ex-boyfriend. She happened to be pregnant. The offender was no longer on the scene, but was found and charged with assault. On the 14th of May, officers were working traffic, ran a license plate only to find it was revoked. The officer made a traffic stop, had the driver exit the vehicle, placed that individual under arrest. The individual started emptying his pockets of foil packets which contained a powdery substance. Later to be found that they were controlled substance. That individual was also charged, brought into the station. On May 16th, officers responded to another domestic on the 2100 block of 218th Street. Victim went and met the officers, explained her boyfriend picked her up and slammed her to the ground. She's also 7 months pregnant. Offender had already left the scene, were secured aggravated domestic battery charges on that individuals. On May 19th, officers responded to a burglary in progress. They were met by a witness who observed the individual enter another residence, which happened to be his own. At the same time, an individual was driving up, allowed the officers to enter the building. They found the individual who was identified by the witness and was placed under arrest for burglary. A case of note, on May 21st, officers responded to a shooting on the 2400 block of Nichols. Victim and other residents were standing in front of the house. A car drove up, made an obscene gesture, drove down the block, came back and started shooting at the victim. This is the police were called. But the great thing about this is several witnesses stepped up and identified the shooter and the driver. The shooter was caught that day. The vehicle was also identified and secured for evidentiary purposes. Officers and detectives were able to secure felony discharge of firearms charges through the state's attorney's office on the offender. It's a Class X felony, so that person will be in jail for a while. We also have an outstanding warrant for the driver of that vehicle for the same charge, which is also a Class X felony. On May 20th, Detective Division secured 2 no-bond arrest warrants for individuals who are property managers in Sauk Village who haven't paid their water or haven't paid water for different property that they are renting. In addition to that, those individuals are also scamming the true owners of those buildings. So we're working closely with Sherry and her group and the housing department. We, like the Trustee Myers mentioned about the ordinance update, on Friday the 20th, Mary Klopp mentioned about the Special Olympics. Many of the Sauk Village groups and volunteers took part in the annual Cop on Top at the Dunkin' Donuts. The event was a success due to all the people who helped in collecting money for the cause. The great thing about it, it was not about who did what and for how long, but about the money that we were able to collect and give in supporting the athletes who participate in Special Olympics. I want to thank everybody who worked on this, and I was Mary's escort to the bank. She was very pleasant to work with. Lastly, I'd like to we received a letter of thanks for actions by Officer Gary Luke and Officer Ryan Sassano that they took on May 6th when assisting a citizen, and it was an ambulance call. And so I know there's been a lot of talk about different calls that the police go on, but this was one where the officers responded to a resident here on 217th Place, and I'd like to read this. It came to my attention. On May 6th, I called 911 for an emergency. My husband fell in the bathtub and was not responsive, and I could not get him out. The operator talked to me until the paramedics came. They got my husband out of the tub and in the ambulance. I think some plainclothes detectives also came. Not sure because I was frantic, but they also helped. They got my husband in the ambulance, but they were having a hard time because my husband was having fits. The policeman stepped in and helped the paramedics with the IV by holding him down. The police officer provided escort service as far as he could, and that was a blessing. Because of all the people, the operator, the paramedics, and the police officers, my husband is alive today. Again, we thank you and your people. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief. Move to the Public Works Department, Trustee, I'm sorry.
Could I ask the police chief for a couple of questions?
Trustee, go ahead.
Chief, you know, we've been talking about protective vests for the officers for about a month now. And in 2010, we spent like $3,500 on protective vests for the officers. Do y'all know how many vests that covered?
I do not. As I had mentioned, I can't find any of those records.
Okay. And the same would apply to 2013 when we played Eagle.
Again, no record.
Okay.
I have a list of the officers whose vests are more than 5 years old now. So now during my time, I have a list of the officers whose vests are expired and that I applied for the grant. But the grant is still open for several more weeks. So I won't hear anything on that for a while.
How many vests are there?
9.
9? Okay, thank you.
So those are 9 officers with vests that are 5 years or older.
And that's as of today's date, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public grounds and buildings. Due to the rain that we've had in the last several weeks, staff is definitely behind on cutting grass. Public Works has maintenance of 49 village locations, which are inclusive of parks, open spaces, the ball fields, parkways, retention, and detention ponds. As of 5/10, staff have made 34 cuts on various locations. We're definitely catching up, but the detentions and some of the open spaces are still behind. Streetlights, due to some of the grass cutting, and we're behind on some of that. Some of the streetlight fault issues are still behind. We still have the two that we discussed in the last meeting on Peterson, and the one on 215 that is still a fault, underground fault we have to detect, and we still have a wire to hang on Peach Street. That's still ongoing. Buildings maintenance staff, we have one of our staff members replacing a door at the Public Works garage, and he will start the rest of this week on replacing filters and cleaning out all the HVAC units on all the village buildings. Pothole complaints in Sauk Village, we are definitely having a lot of that, and we will be out as soon as the vendor releases our account. Most of this holdup of this account is due to the MFT fund, which we have not received all our funding yet. So at this point, we have had a problem trying to pay this vendor, and they have put us on hold. This accounts payable should be able to release us, so next week we'll definitely start patching more of the potholes and doing more permanent repairs. Water, we still do our day-to-day testing, all the EPA required. Operators do all their morning testings. And staff, 2 extra staff, we put on the Southside shutoff list starting last week, and we still have not completed that list. It's still ongoing, and that will include the turning back on from the off of the list too. So we'll cut one of the staff members and only leave one on that extra. Garbage day to day, appreciate the beautification for having their cleanup. Definitely staff, as we cut our locations, we will pick up and we'll try to keep all the edges of the fields and debris clean. Most of the concerns that we have in town now are residents cutting their grass into the street. This is the only reason storm sewers back up. During a rain event, when there's a flooded street, 99% of the time is due to the residents cutting grass or throwing their debris into the roadway. If we do see this, we do notice it, we will notify code enforcement, and the department has put together a letter to place on the door. More of a warning right now, but we'll follow with tickets, and hopefully they will take care of that. Hydrant repairs, we're still behind, like I said, and we still have the 3 locations on Merrill and the 1 location on 223rd Street, 2 on Merrill, 1 on 223rd Street. Those will start up back next week. Public Works staff is definitely keeping track on all the vehicles that we need to keep running, to keep each department we're working with running. We have 3 vehicles back in line. 1 is from police, 2 from the police department, 1 from Public Works, 1 from ESDA, and the administration vehicle is back in service. More to follow. Sanitary system complaints, we have had 0 complaints. While staff was out cutting one of the park locations on the north side of town off of Jeffrey, they did notice a backed up manhole. Then they took care of that, all was okay. Public Works is first, the village's first branch pickup is completed. All branches that are out right now have to be picked up by the residents, or they may be ticketed. Some residents had cut down whole trees or had tree services come out to remove trees on their property. That's up to them to remove those trees. We take for trimming and removal only for stuff that falls in storms. It's not to cut whole trees down. We do not have enough staff or time to be able to take care of all that. Landscaping work, we're still continuing to finalize some of the stuff with beautification at the 394 location. I guess the people that will put donations in there can put their plantings in. But most of the brickwork is done. We still have 1 more location by McDonald's to readjust the brickwork. And then once we remove a tree at the marquee sign, then that one will be restructured. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Question.
Trustee.
Director Weller, I did receive the packet that you sent out with the asbestos, and I appreciate that. I had one question on the cover letter from the company that came out. That was received here in Village Hall January, it was dated January 29th, and it refers to an inspection in March. So I'm wondering, I'm confused as to how that happened.
I don't have the paperwork with me. I have to review it to answer your question. I don't believe I have a copy of it. No, I do not. I'd have to get the information and get back to you.
Could you look into that and perhaps
Sure.
at the next meeting just let us know, because I'm confused as to how they can send you a letter 2 months before they do the job regarding it. All right, thank you.
All right, move to Administrative Service Director, Director Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Debbie said the village hall is closed on Monday. That was part of my report, so thank you. Village stickers are on sale and must be displayed by June 30th, July 1st by midnight. Village stickers will be double July 1st. Passenger plate is $30, truck plate is $48, one senior discount per household of $20. Animal licenses have been on sale since April 1st. Spayed or neutered are $10, not spaded or neutered are $25. The second set of liens will be filed within the next week, totaling $61,961.32. That's a total of 32 liens. I just handed over to Oldison and Stirk tonight for them to file. Grass tickets since April 25th through today. Sue wrote 299 tickets for grass not being cut within the month, 30 days. If a vacant property has an owner or bank listed and the grass is not being cut, they have and will continue to receive tickets. Unfortunately, there are several homes that the village has no idea who the ownership is. People think that we're a municipality and we know who these owners are, and we do not. Cook County tax assessor are 5 years out. They're behind, they're not up to date, they have deceased people still owning these homes, which causes a big problem for us. A title search for each property on the low end would be $125 plus attorney fees. That's on the low end to have a title search ran. We do not have the funding or the manpower it takes to find out. Sometimes it's 4 hours for one house. We don't have the staff to do that. This concludes my report.
Mr. Mayor. Trustee? Sherry, I just have a question. Of the tickets that are written by Sue, what's the percentage of collection?
I don't know. I would have to have a report ran from Cindy to see what kind of money is being taken in for JNP tickets. As you know, I report to you monthly on court, and as you know, that we have a lot of people who do not show up. So what's happening is when the comptroller gets them, they're garnishing their wages, and hopefully we can start collecting on some of this debt that's owed to us. That's in a 30-day period. Some of the tickets are 100, 200. It just depends if they're repeat offenders. Some of them have. It's always like this the beginning of the year with grass cutting. They just don't cut the grass.
Okay, because I'm just wondering, is there a amount, in other words, you give that you apply to their garnishment? In other words, after 3 tickets, or is it after 1 ticket that we apply for?
She'll start, I instructed her to go at 50, then 100, then 150, and then after the second or third ticket, the tenant is not cutting the grass, the owners are getting the tickets. And if I have to, we'll go up to $750.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Finance Director's not here, he had a family emergency tonight. We've got Sauk Village Homeland Security, Eamon Darnell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees. Over the past 2 weeks, the ESTA has responded to 17 calls. The ESTA department responded to 6 fire alarms, 2 vehicle accidents, 1 electrical fire, 1 CO alarm, 5 school patrol, and 2 odor investigations. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Move to Human Relations Commission, Commissioner Frank Williams.
On June the 11th, from 1 to 5 behind the Village Hall, we're having our youth program. And we would like for all of the trustees will participate in this if at all possible. And the thing that I would like to do with Mr. John, could I be with you immediately after the meeting tonight to discuss this? Thank you. That's in my report.
June the 11th from 1 to 5? Okay, right later. All right, Housing Commissioner is not here. We've got Senior Committee reports. The committee hosted a luncheon in appreciation of our village seniors this past Saturday to celebrate the 51st anniversary of Older Americans Month. It was a very successful event with abundance of food. Subcommittee Chair Barb Stearns led her committee members, Rose Ketchum, Rose Langston, and Frank Williams, in donating the food dishes they prepared, plus more. Although it was not a potluck, food was provided by other seniors, Gladys Reese, Linda Todd, Debbie Williams, committee members Steve Shimkus, did the setup and was the greeter, assisted by Debbie Williams, and Floyd Morgan and his spouse Nadine assisted with the preparation. Sauk Village Youth, Abby, Benjamin, Ethan, and Rebecca did a fabulous job volunteering to serve the seniors. Following the luncheon, Rummy Cube game was played, introducing more seniors to a game the seniors are addicted to on Friday. Thank you to all those who participated and helped with the cleanup. A signed copy of the proclamation was given to each senior. And then all seniors aged 50 years young are invited to the Senior Committee Open Senior Activity days on Friday. It's every Friday from 12:30 to 3:30. And thank you to Steve Shemkis and Frank Williams for coordinating the games. There is no meetings, there's no membership dues. Just come and join the fun with your peers. Light refreshments and bottled water is served. The Sauk Village Bluegrass will not be playing this weekend because of the Memorial Day weekend, so they will not be there on Sunday, May 29th. That ends the report. All right, move to new business. A motion to approve all accounts payable and disbursements for May 11th, 2016 through May 24th, 2016 according to Sauk Village policy. Is there a motion to approve? That motion, is there a second? Motion is second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
Page 2. I guess vendor number 2506. I know Mohan is not here, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Fairman can answer that question. Late fees. What is it? That's a lot. How long is it? Is it a 1 month late fee, 6 month late fee? And is it for the prior, I guess the copier, the prior part in there? In other words, is it for the financing of the equipment, the copier? So if the copier is one payment that we pay, but what is the amount for the late fee? Why is that so high?
Mr. Trustee Burgess, I have been out of state and I have not had a chance to go over this with Mr. Mohan, so I can't answer that question.
Does anybody in administration, the mayor, anyone can answer why the late fees are so high?
I don't have an answer. I'll have to find out for sure, but it looks like it's the late fees for the copier. So,
Right, I mean, right, you're paying the copier, I see the copier finance fee,
right.
but the late fee to be almost $200. I'm just trying to figure, is that for 1 month, 2 months? Why we have that's a high late fee, and I'm just wondering, what is it? I know, and I'm sure someone knows, but you said that you've been out of town, so you weren't aware, Mr. Fairman, that we...
And you didn't have time to ask Mohan before the meeting?
Before the meeting, Mohan wasn't here today. I didn't see him today.
But he was here yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, yesterday I didn't get this until...
When did you get this? When was this in your box?
It was in the box, probably. I said I wasn't here yesterday to look at this.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, does anyone know
No one knows.
why the late fee is so high?
No one knows. We'll have to find out.
But we get ready to vote on it.
It's a late fee. It's got to be paid.
Pardon me?
Unless you want to put it off and have more late fees.
I was like, no, I'm just trying to figure out why is it just an explanation. Why is that late fee that high on something? I know we have we're behind in our bills. I just wanted to know, was that a 1 month late fee or 2 months? It's kind of high to have to borrow that kind of money, to have that big of a late fee to be almost the amount that your finance, that your payment is. That's all. I'm just trying to find out, does anyone know why?
Right? Anything else? Anything else?
So no one knows the answers to the questions for the accounts payable? Is what I'm hearing?
It's a late fee.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm saying, are we on item A?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Accounts payable?
Yes.
I'm saying no one knows, and I have questions about the accounts payable, so there's no one here that knows anything about the accounts payable to respond to any questions?
You should have had these in the boxes over the weekend. You had time to talk to the finance director.
That's not my question. Is there anyone here that can respond?
The finance director is not here. He had a family emergency.
So the answer is no.
Don't know what your questions are. I'm just saying the finance director.
Now listen very carefully. There's no one here that can respond to questions that I have about accounts payable. That's yes or no.
So the finance director had a family emergency. He's the best person to answer those questions.
Like I said, yes or no.
And you've had this in your box for how long? Where you could have responded to the finance director and asked those questions in person. But
No.
you chose to wait until tonight to bring a question.
Because some of the people out here in the audience want to know the same thing.
And you can't get the
And I'm not
answers
going to
by
have
the
a backroom conversation
And you
to
can't,
get questions.
you can't get those answers and then respond back to people when people ask you what those
This is the best way to do it. I'm not going to make 5 and 6 telephone calls. I can do it at one time.
Fine. Any other questions? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please
I
call.
do have one more question.
Go ahead, trustee.
I did talk to the finance director, which was last week, and I want to ask you as the mayor and Mr. Fairman to be put on record. Are we at any time between now and the next time we meet going to need to transfer money for payroll? Does anyone know that we may need to transfer money for payroll between now and the next time we meet?
I have no idea. And remember, we pay our bills as the bills are paid.
Okay.
So if the state doesn't pay us, or if there's a shortage, then there may have to be money borrowed. But
So no one
I
knows.
can't look into a crystal ball right there. I don't know.
Mayor, it's not a crystal ball. You know, between now and then, someone right now should know how much we have in the budget, or in the bank, I'm sorry, how much we have in the bank right now. There is a payroll coming up this weekend, Wednesday. Does anyone here, Mr. Fairman, you're the administrator, is there a need to transfer money from one account to another between now and then? We should know, we shouldn't be waiting until the day of to transfer money. If you know that we have to transfer, then let's take care of that while the whole board is here rather than get these phone calls. And if you get 3 people to say yes, you're gonna call the rest. That does happen. So I'm just asking for the record, does anyone know between now and the end of this month, or between now and the end of this week, because I don't want to get a call tomorrow, is there a need? Do we have enough money to pay payroll this Wednesday to put it in the bank for Thursday? That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Question, Mr. Burgess, as I said earlier, I can't make it any clearer than that. I have not been in town. I got in here last night. I have the right to be on leave, and I'm not going to try to guess on that question.
So you weren't informed today that we may have a shortage? You were here today? So you're not saying anything? I'm asking you a question, sir.
He doesn't have the answer, trustee. What part don't you understand?
Okay.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't come back from wherever he was asking, is everything okay?
You asked if we're going to make payroll. I can tell you I already signed checks. So, payroll checks.
I'm just saying, that's what I'm asking. Is there a need to transfer money? That's all I'm asking.
As of right now, we know of no need. All right, next.
All right, next.
Any other questions?
I'm just asking you.
I answered your question. As of right now, we know of no need to transfer money.
Please, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to give you your respect. I'm going to demand mine.
Okay. Well,
I'm just asking a question. I'm not trying to debate.
And you can ask that question. This is your last question because according to the ordinance, you can only ask that question twice.
What you going to do if I can keep asking? Okay. I'm just asking so I can make this clear. Because I don't want to hear this by the end of the week. If we don't pay this, we don't pay payroll. We've done that too many times. Because right now, we're not going to meet again until after the month is over with. So we'll be meeting in the first week. So that's all I'm asking. No one knows that answer. Your job, we pay certain people so they can have that answer. Just because you take off for a week doesn't mean that you don't know what's going on. You should know. That's all I'm asking.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess,
Abstain.
Jones,
No.
Myers,
Yes.
Tate,
No.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams.
Abstain goes with the positive, right? So I don't have to, I don't have to vote. I don't have to vote. Right? Okay, I don't have to vote. Okay. All right, motion, item B, motion to approve special meeting minutes for April 20th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Jones,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Tate, Washington,
Yes.
Williams. Burgess.
No.
Okay, motion carries. Item C, motion to approve special meeting minutes for April 21st, 2016. Is there a motion to approve? Motion, yeah, motion and second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Myers,
Yes.
Tate,
No.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams.
First.
21st. Burgess,
I have a question. Is this the budget meeting that was reconvened? No.
Jones,
Yes.
All right. Okay. Item D, motion to approve special meeting minutes for April 22nd, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Yeah, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Tate,
No.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams. Burgess,
Present.
Jones,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item E, motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for April 26, 2016. Is there a motion to approve? Yeah, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, motion and second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams. Burgess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Tate,
No.
Motion approves. Item F, motion to approve executive session meeting minutes for April 26, 2016. Is there a motion to approve? Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
that's the 26 you just read.
Yes.
Which one is this one for?
Item F.
Burgess. Executive session.
Is that the one we just got to
That's
review?
what I thought.
That's the one we just got to review?
What did you just say?
Motion to approve executive session meeting minutes for April 26, 2016.
If the audience would be quiet, maybe we could hear what's happening at the board table.
Quit.
Trustee Burgess is asking if that's one of the board that's reviewed tonight. That's what it's about.
They're all leaving the room.
The executive session is asking the motion of the review.
Say your question, Mr. Burgess.
Yes, it was.
That's exactly what it is.
That's-
What is the
that's-
executive
well,
session?
No, okay. Because you had two and the lawyer changed one at the regular board meeting. That's what I was asking.
Executive session minutes that are on the agenda.
Okay.
The ones that were reviewed by the board.
Right, that's what we're voting on. That's why I asked, what is the executive session?
August 22nd, the board, was changing the date of the 7H to read May 10th instead of August 26th. Okay, that's a Scrivener error.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor in a second for item F.
Mr. Mayor, is there a problem with her explaining that to me? That's,
No, I'm just
asking a
saying.
question.
I don't have this executive.
I understand, thank you. I just asked. No.
Okay, so you're saying no to item F?
Yes.
Okay, Jones,
Yes.
Myers, Tate, Washington,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item G, motion to approve committee meeting minutes for May the 3rd, 2016.
So moved.
Yeah, motion, is there a second? Yeah, motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Tate,
No.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams.
Motion carries. Item H, the amendment of a motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for May the 10th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve? That motion, is there a second?
Second.
That motion, second, any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Jones?
Yes.
Myers?
Same.
Tates?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Burgess?
No.
Is it three? What's the count on the one? Okay, motion carries. Item H, motion to approve 2016-2017 Sauk Village budget. Is there a motion to approve? I'm sorry, aye. Motion to approve the 2016-2017 Sauk Village budget. Is there a motion to approve? Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion, and a second, any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please, trustee.
My vote would be no on this budget. And we had a long discussion a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the aging report, which Trustee Williams just mentioned her committee's going to take a look at. I do not see how you can approve a budget without taking into consideration all the debts that you owe going to the new fiscal year. And we seem to have just put those on the side as if they don't exist, and they still have to be paid. And when you look at the budget, I couldn't find any figure that tells me exactly what the budget adds up to, so I did my own math. And it appears that the revenue that we receive and the expenditures that we're projecting, there's going to be a $3 million deficit. And I cannot vote to approve a budget where there's going to be a $3 million deficit. This budget, as I said, I'm not going to vote in favor of it, just so you know. And I know you don't care. You're shaking your head. I know you don't care. But just so you know, and I don't see how any trustee can vote on a budget that's already, you're in the hole $3 million. And there's no way for you to get out of the hole. And listen to people tell you that we are owed, the state owes us. The state doesn't have to pay you anything. So saying that the state owes you does not help your budget. And you cannot spend, I don't see how you're going to spend money that you don't have. But that's $3 million. What's $3 million? Doesn't matter.
All right, just so we're clear, there's not a deficit. Again, there's revenues coming in of, what we got here, about $6,142,716. That's exactly what this budget is for. So on the expenditure side versus the revenues coming in for the budget. So all the numbers have been double checked on this portion right here when it comes to the revenues and expenditures. Again, you got to remember your fire department is separate. There's some other departments funds. There's fire funds, water funds. Those are separate. So when we look at the general fund, things like that. So, all right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Myers?
Yes.
Tates?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Yes. Burgess?
No.
Jones?
No.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries. Item J, motion to approve an ordinance making appropriations for all corporate purposes. Audience, please. Item J, motion to approve an ordinance making appropriations for all corporate purposes for the Village of Sauk Village, Counties Cook and Will, State of Illinois for 5/1/2016 through 4/30/2017 fiscal year. Is there a motion to approve? Yeah, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, motion and second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
On your last page of your ordinance, I said this during the budget, and I'm going to say it now during the appropriations. If anyone understands what the appropriation is, no one I saw up here explained it to the people, but you have to vote on an appropriation in order to have a budget. You have to vote out that money or the budget is null and void. It doesn't make sense. So if you don't vote or have an appropriation, at least a hearing or something to ask questions or have somebody to at least ask about it, then if you vote, if the appropriation doesn't go through, you have no budget because there's no money appropriated to supplement that money that you're voting out for your budget. But the question I have is under CDBG. You yourself stated that last year we didn't get anything. Now, Mr. Zarnik did put in for the same amount he put in last year, which we got nothing. Why is it added to this appropriation as revenue? Under past practice, we didn't get anything last year. What makes, and who has concrete proof that we're going to get this $400,000 that we can add into our appropriation under the title of revenue? This is just speculation. We are hoping. So therefore, right then and there, just for that, I can't see us approving this appropriation, because usually when you have appropriation, that's money that you know that you're going to get because of something that happened last year. Now, we all know what happened last year. We didn't get any money, and the budget now is kind of stalemated in the state. So which makes us think that we're going to be, Sauk Village is going to get this $400,000 that we put in for. Also, we've always put in for $400,000. We never got that. We've always got half. So what is it that is cut and dry that feels that we're going to get this amount of money this year, when last year we didn't get anything, and year before that we got $200,000. So I don't know yes, we can insert numbers to make it work. You can always insert numbers to make it work. It's just like polls. But I don't understand why anybody can vote, again, for something that you're going into the hole, or you're speculating that you're going to get this money.
Well, Trustee, I think when you look at the money that we're applying for, it's no different than when it comes to the MFT funds, when it comes to the CDGB grants, when it comes to grants that the police department's applying for, when it comes to grants that the fire department's applying for. It's all part of your appropriations budget. This is all money that, again, this is what we expect to get. And if we don't get it, we won't spend it. But it's part of the appropriations ordinance. And it has to be in there. We're applying for it, and we're going to hope that we get, just like the chief hopes that he gets his grants. Both chiefs hope that they get their grants, which is included in their budgets also.
Mayor, we apply for all type of stuff,
We do.
but we don't get it. Why are we going to budget for something that is speculative? If it comes in, then that's all the good. That's great. Now we have something that we can work with. Maybe we can, but to put it out there and put it under the budget and add it into your appropriation as if, you're going to get MFT will come quicker than this CDBG. CDBG, they don't have to give you anything. MFT, as soon as they release funds, that's your motor fuel tax that you get from the gas stations. That is more likely to come than CDBG grant money. That's something that you apply for, hopefully that you'll get it. That's all I'm looking at. Everything else, okay, fine. Speculative, everything is speculative, but to vote on an appropriation, that's iffy. No.
First of all, I'll just read this. This came from the municipal city's website. It talks about budgets. Just so it makes it very clear, because there's a lot of people that don't understand about the budget. And this comes right exactly from there. A public budget is a plan of expected incomes and expenditures for the upcoming fiscal year, which is a 12-month period of time, which may or may not correspond with a calendar year. Okay? We could go ahead and read again. This whole entire budget is what we're expecting to bring in. The appropriations is what we're expecting to bring in. You talk about, we could get this, we could get that. Well, you might as well not, according to what you're saying, is might not even have an appropriations budget and a budget at all, because we don't know if we're going to get it. We don't know if people are going to pay their taxes on their homes. We don't know how much MFT funds we're going to bring. Again, a lot of stuff is estimated. People would decide, I'm not going to buy gas in Sauk Village anymore. A lot of stuff you're saying is speculative. So again, this is what we expect to bring in. Again, and if you don't get the money, you don't spend the money. And when it comes to your CDGB, we applied for $400,000. That $400,000 is a plan that's put together, right, Jim? Saying what we would use that $400,000 on, and when we get that money will be used for what it was applied for. Just like when the chiefs apply for their grants, which is inside their budgets also, that they're going to apply for grants, which is inside their budget line items, to get certain equipment, to get certain, bulletproof vests, things like that. That's included in their budget. So if they don't get it, we're not going to spend it. So,
Mayor, we added and I'm just gonna go back to what you're saying, speculative. The whole budget is speculative. It's all dependent upon. But we as a village have to plan for that. We were carrying in the Parks and Recs department $335,000, which was supposed to be part of a grant for 2.5 years. That was a grant that was promised to us. Guess what? Took it off last year. Why? Because it never came. So we finally took it off, made it look good on paper that we're going to get that, and made it look great when it came down to the budget, because now the Parks and Recs department had $300-some-thousand, which was put on the rolls. But it never came, so we had to end up taking it off. I'm trying to be proactive here. They don't have a budget in Illinois, which means money is tight. Why am I going to add fuel to the fire and speculate some more money that we know? We shouldn't even put that on there. If it comes, fine. But don't pay your bills on money that, that you know right now is going to be iffy.
I think you made a very good point about if you don't pass an appropriations ordinance, you're not going to be able to spend money. So, Trustee Williams?
Just a couple of things is, one of the reasons why something like the $400,000 will be put in the CDBG is because we did not apply for it. We still, even though we didn't get anything last year, we still applied for it this year. If we got it done, if we didn't put anything in the budget under that line item, we couldn't accept it as a revenue. You have to put something, when you create a budget, you have to put stuff in expenditures and in revenue. If we just said we didn't get it last year and we chose not to go for it, that would be a reason to take the $400,000 out. But we went for it. We were trying to get it. So if we don't put something in the revenue part, we can't spend it anyway. It can't go anywhere. That's the first thing. The second thing is to say that you're inserting numbers. If you look at the budget, there's $400,000 in that for revenue. There's $400,000 in it for expenditure. It's not like if we get this money, then the $400,000 can come. It's not like we can say, okay, well, we'll spend $37.50 on streets, but the rest is going to go for new carpet. You have to spend the money on what it's for. So that's why if you look at the budget, and this is just for everybody who had a copy of the budget and may not know, that's where the budget is set up. When the mayor pointed out before that, and I don't want to get the number right, you've got $6 million for revenue for general fund. If you look at the general fund expenditures, it's the exact same number. And there's a reason for that. We might not get $5 million. Because like the mayor said, it all depends. People paying water bills, people paying taxes, getting money from the state. The state's what, 346 days into a budget? So, I mean, I know that may not be, that's a good standing point. We're trying to be better than that. But we have to understand that if we don't put it as a thing we might get, we can't spend it if we do. And that's just basically how the budget works. And as the mayor stated, if we don't put it in there, we don't pass the appropriations, then we can't spend the money. And I know, there's a lot of people out there that may not agree with what I'm saying, which is completely fine. And I've said this before, we don't have to pay accounts payable. We don't have to pass the budget. It just makes the village look dumb when we don't pay our bills and when we don't have a budget and we can get fined and everything else. That's completely up. If that's the board's decision, that's the board's decision. But we just need to understand that without the ordinance, as you say before, Trustee Burgess, we can't even use the money that we appropriated in the budget.
But you, trustee, first of all, you stated, I do know how a budget goes too. I do know. I don't need you to explain to me by yourself or the mayor. I know exactly how to run and how a budget works in the village. But when you add this to your bottom line, you just got through saying that if we don't get it, we can't spend it. And this money has to be used just for that. Really? This budget has been, the last 3 years, we took money from Peter to pay Paul. So this is speculative. If we get the money and we apply for this grant and we get it, then great. Now we can use it for that. But to put it into that budget and we don't get it, now what do we do now? Because we used that money for other reasons. It's not just because it comes in from CDBG that we use just for CDBG. And it is speculative, and it is hoping that we get the money. All I'm saying, I'm asking to have that removed from there. Don't add that to my bottom line to say that the budget is balanced, because it is not balanced. Two reasons why it's not balanced. There's nothing in there that says we're going to pay back anyone. We have bills. I don't care if it's $1,000 on the table. It's still $1,000 that we owe, and we're going to move forward, hoping that somebody's got a tree somewhere they can dig up some money and give it to the village, because what we budgeted is what we're going to spend. There's nothing in there that says we're going to spend money that we owe already. There's nothing in this budget that states that we're going to do anything to a debt recovery or whatever. There's nothing in there for that. So how do we go about paying that? What do we have? High late fees? And we're paying, we don't budget for late fees. We don't budget for a lot of things that happen. I would like to at least see this board one time say, okay, let's cut the budget. But every time we cut the budget, as a so-called we did this time, what did? We hired people. We went out and hired somebody, even though we still didn't have the money because we still got to borrow. I want to see now with this fiscal year, since this budget was passed by the trustees and the mayor, how many times we're going to have to borrow, and when are we going to start paying back? Because the water fund, if they were a bank, the late fees wouldn't be $178. It would be something like $100,000, because we don't pay back the water fund with interest. That's our slush fund. So I just want to see how many times in this next fiscal year are we going to have to pay back money or borrow money because we don't have money. We should at least sometimes bite the bullet and say, okay, let's go with what we have. Let's try to do 1 year without putting us in a hole.
Okay. Anything else to add, trustee? Anything new?
Pardon me? What'd you say?
Anything else, trustees? Okay, we have a motion on the table in a second. Village clerk, please call the roll.
Dates?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Burgess?
No.
Jones? No. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. All right. Let's see, you got a motion, item K, motion to approve fireworks contract with Mad Bombers for $6,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustees, go ahead, need a motion and a second first.
I'll wait for the second, please.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'd like to ask a question.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Should we make the second? Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Trustee Myers.
I'd like to address this to Trustee Jones. Have you received or notification that you can go ahead to remove the asbestos from the community center? I know I picked up my package and I read it at the hospital. There was a proposal to remove the asbestos from the community center. Have you gave the okay to go ahead on it? And where does it stand at?
That'd be,
It's not a trustee.
that's,
Yeah, the trustee can't. We'll move forward once we have the, now that we've got the budget passed and now that we've got the corporations passed, we'll move forward on getting the asbestos moved inside the scene.
I understand it. Well, I understand then, Mr. Mayor, that Trustee Jones can inform Kevin to go ahead and start the process.
Trustee Jones won't inform him. I've already informed the village administrator, and plus Kevin's got direction tonight. Now that we've got the budget approved and the appropriations approved, we can move forward on getting the asbestos removed.
So that'd be moving pretty quickly to get asbestos out of there.
You'll probably have to call the company up and have them come out and give us a time when they can do it.
Basically, they have to apply for the permit for the county, and then they'll set a date.
Yep. So, and then I think we were trying to request that the county waive the permit fee, right?
Yes, we have a meeting scheduled to talk about that.
Okay. So we've requested, since we are using money from the Parks and Recs to do that, we've requested that they waive the fee.
So we'll move forward in the state. Right?
Yes. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
It was stated last week, or whenever we got the one from the other place, that it would be a 20-minute show. Does it say on here how long this show was gonna last? I didn't see it in this contract for the Mad Bomber.
Is it 15, 20?
Mr. Burgess, I called today just to make sure, because I thought that question might come up. It's a 15-minute show.
And also, and did they, because they weren't the lowest that we had, I think the other one was the lowest that came up. I thought that was gonna be on here. So this is 15 minutes, $6. I mean, Mayor, I asked you about this last week, and I'm still gonna state it, because your answer was, this is America. Fireworks does not make America. I mean, paying your bills and at least trying to balance your budget is more American than fireworks. I don't know, you know, and the second thing, and this was stated, and this was stated by you, so you can sit up and say no if you want to, but you made it clear that when you gave Trustee Jones the Parks and Recs, that he would have to find funding to do the fireworks, because last year you did it, the reason why that you okayed it last year was because he just got in office and didn't have time to raise money. But now that you've taken it out of his hands and you took it upon yourself, all of a sudden now there's money and there's nobody raising money for it. So I just wanted to make that clear, but I think that the village, we should, you know, show the people something. I mean, if for that kind of money, for 15 minutes, you know, I don't see it. I don't see that we should even make it seem like we're okie dokie mighty fine. Because we got a lot of problems here in the village, and we have a lot of people that are not here to pay taxes because the homes are vacant. Yeah. We got over 400 some homes, and that's at least $2,000 per home that we're losing in revenue a year. To make it look like we're out there to make everything all American, what makes you American is you, not the fireworks.
Anything else? Trustee?
One more question, sir.
Yes.
When I was reviewing these things for compliance for the statute and stuff, I thought there was two of them, and that's, what was it, from memory, 5 alarm or 5th alarm?
5 alarm.
And that was way less than Mad Bombers. Why are we going higher? Anybody answer?
There's $500 once, but they didn't have all the paperwork and stuff. So, I mean, we've used Mad Bomber in the past, they provided everything that we needed, so it was only $500 more. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, so
For 20 minutes. There's what out there for 20 minutes. That's what this is the 5 alarm.
Right.
I got a question.
Trustee.
Being American is being able to take care of your family, take care of your community, take care of the kids that are in the community, take care of the less fortunate if you can. And I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of less fortunate kids out here that could use money that programs are created that they could use to participate in programs. To shoot them off in the air and be gone and still leave these unfortunate kids out here with any other funds to help them progress and achieve the American dream and help them maybe go out to a trip to see some of America. There's plenty of kids out here that hasn't even left the south side of Chicago. I mean, it'd be great to take a group of kids outside of Chicago, take them on a trip somewhere outside of Sauk Village, and take them on a trip somewhere they could see something different. Maybe they could learn something, bring something back to the village to make the village grow. I don't agree that popping firecrackers off and that's gonna achieve that American dream. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, the ones that are gonna vote for it is gonna vote for it anyway. So, you know, I should just take the vote on it and be done with it.
I just want to say something real quick, okay? First of all, the 4th of July, we have talked about this as an American holiday. This is a time that we celebrate our independence. But when we have when we have the fireworks, number one, it's something that the families come out. This is an event for the entire village. Families come out. You don't have to go very far to see. The parks are filled. Fairway parking lot's full. Walgreens is full. McDonald's is full. Last year, Hometown Euro was full of individuals and people that are coming out to spend time with their neighbors, number one. Number two, the businesses are getting business because people are going in with their families and they're buying pops and they're buying sandwiches and stuff. So, again, this is something that, again, it's an event for the residents of Sauk Village. It's something that it brings families out. You see the kids, they look forward to coming out and watching the fireworks. So this is something that, again, when you look at the entire budget and the $6,000, it's not even a percent. It's like 0.000. It's way down there of a percentage from this budget to put off and have an event for the residents of Sauk Village.
Well, can Parks and Recs get a small drop in the bucket for $6,000 for programs? Since it's just a small thing that's going to last more than one day. If Sauk Village is a point of interest for the southern communities, you wouldn't have to bring people out for one day. You have people coming over here every day. And right now, we don't have nothing here that's going to attract anyone here. Fireworks, one day, fine. Let's try to achieve something down the road. Let's look down the road for the future. This is not the future.
And other leaders that had Parks and Recs in the past, they went out and did fundraisers and raised money so that they could have additional funds and
I'm not in charge of the fireworks. I was no longer.
You are in charge of Parks and Recs.
I'm not in charge of the fireworks.
You're not a leader.
You took the fireworks away from me before I even had a chance to even raise any money. If I would have had a chance to raise money, maybe we could have raised money. But you jumped the gun and for whatever personal reason and took it out of my hands. Maybe we could have got something done.
And trustee, you were given the opportunity to raise money.
No, I did not.
You said you were refused.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Pull the tapes up where you're lying. Pull the tapes up and show me where I refused to go out and panhandle for money.
You said you refused to go out and
there you go. Show me on the tape. Anyone please pull the tape up to show that I refused to do anything. I have never refused to do anything up here.
Trustee Williams.
But I refuse to sit here and listen to you lie on me. You're lying. You're lying right now.
You are, sir.
And you don't believe in the kids and you do not believe in his future. If you did, you would put the future first. Stop making excuses. Don't put this on America. Don't walk around and just say, oh, 9/11. And now everyone is just supposed to have a bleeding heart or something. Don't use that as an excuse. That is very un-American, very unpatriotic.
So, Trustee Williams.
Just a couple of things. And I don't remember if it was 2009 or 2010, the year that we didn't have fireworks. And I know that next board meeting, there were lots of residents who came up who complained about the fact that we did not have fireworks. And since that point in time, I know that this village has tried to have fireworks. And I know that past Parks and Recs people, I've been trying to talk for 10 minutes, I'm very respectful, so I would ask if the audience could please be respectful as well. I know past Parks and Recs people have gone out and raised money, but besides that, as the chair of the Public Relations Committee, I went out and I raised money for fireworks only because the residents came here and said they wanted fireworks. To me, personally, I don't care if there's fireworks or not. The Heights, Diner, there's things like that. That not everybody can go outside the village. So some people went and opportunity to raise funds. And as far as the point fingers as who didn't raise funds for fireworks, I mean, I remember last year, and I know that every year Independence Day is July 4th. So public relations could have gone out to raise funds. Anybody could have gone out to raise funds. The fact of the matter remains that nobody did.
Right.
So we're at the point now
Refuse.
where we have two, regardless, I'm just asking the board, we have a motion and a second. We're at the point right now where we can have fireworks, or we don't have to have fireworks. We've done it before where we've not had fireworks. And while there were residents who came up to complain about the fact that maybe they don't have, the car to go to other places and they couldn't see them quite as well, I mean, they lived, and I hate to be crass, but they survived without having fireworks. I'm not saying that we should have them or we shouldn't have them. Everybody has their own individual vote. I'm saying that we have a motion, we have a second, I think we need to vote. And additionally, during the budget meetings, I did stress on the first day, Trustee Jones, that I would hope that you would come to us on the second day with kind of like some ideas of some programming, so you could fight for your committee for some money. And I agree with you that if the $6,000 does not go towards the fireworks, and we've already got the asbestos problem solved, I look forward to at the next board meeting a list of some possible ideas that you're looking for Parks and Recs. And let's see. That's just my view. I said it during the budget meeting. And multiple times, just like the department heads have to come and fight for their departments, I want this, I want this. I know Trustee Washington tried it. She sat there in the budget meeting and said, hey, can I get some money? She didn't get no money, but she tried. She fought for her committee. So I think that you make up a good point. I would be interested to see kind of some programming ideas that you have, because it's something, fireworks is something for the community. I'd like to see what else we can do for the community for $6,000 if it's not voted for. That's just, again, the only reason why I think the fireworks are even on here was because the residents complained about it. The one year we didn't do it. And I don't think that blame should be pointed for anybody not raising money, because I don't think that there's anybody up here who didn't know before the July was coming.
Any other questions or comments?
Comment.
Trustee.
I enjoyed all this conversation about fireworks. Here's the thing that's in my mind. We're talking about asbestos removal at the Pazel Center. We know there's a problem at the police building. We have a lot of areas that $6,000 could contribute to rectifying. $6,000 for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Are there any NBA players in here who's making that kind of money? 15 minutes. We have adults and children who use the Pazel Center. We have first responders who use the police building for years with mold, asbestos, and everything else you can think of over there. Why are we using our money to make sure we have healthy environments for the residents of Sauk Village? One thing about being here, and I've stood at Walgreens and I've stood at Title Max, you can see firework displays in Dyer, you can see them in Chicago Heights, standing here. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can see all over this area fireworks displays, which are much better than ours. Let them spend $6,000 and we'll watch their display and we'll say how good it looks. Let's take care of our residents and provide safe environments for our people. We talk about a lot of money being spent. Fire Chief, please don't look over here, because we know you have $1 million driveway you need and $1 million roof over there. We have things that can be done in Sauk Village with $6,000. And I don't care if you don't put $2,000 in each area to start addressing dilapidated buildings, mold, asbestos, and whoever knows whatever else we can find. Let's use our money wisely. Let's not use it foolishly. $6,000 for 15 minutes is foolish. And if there's anybody on this board that want to contribute $6,000 for this, please contribute your $6,000 and let's get it on.
All right, any other questions or comments? The motion is second on the floor. Village Clerk, please call the roll.
Burgess.
No.
Jones.
No.
Myers.
No.
Tate.
No.
Washington.
No.
Williams.
All right. So there will be no fireworks this year because the village board voting it down. All right?
So, because, like I said, we had fireworks for the past couple of years, is there going to be any announcement or anything that's put out?
Well, I'll put something on, trust me.
I mean, so like.
I'll let the residents know why they're not having fireworks this year. Yeah. So, all right. Move to miscellaneous comments from Mayor Board of Trustees. Trustee Williams.
Just one comment, the person's not here, who started the comment, but I just asked, a citizen came up and did state that, you know, we have an election in less than 12 months. I would just ask that in this room, if we could not.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I would just, can you hear, this is on. I would just ask that for like the next year, if we could please not talk about the election so feverishly when we still have 11 months left. It's a little ridiculous. And I know that the mayor already apologized for the racial comments that are stated, but I personally do take offense to racial comments, and I would just ask if we could kind of put a hold on those two. You know, I don't know why there weren't a certain amount of different races at different events. I didn't know that we had a quota for different activities in Sauk Village, but I just personally, it bothers me when people talk about race. I don't think that it's necessary, honestly. I think that people align themselves with certain people, and that's, you have, these people will volunteer at this event, and these people will volunteer at this event, and it's sad. In my opinion, it's sad, but that's the way it goes. You've got some people that cross both sides, but not everybody agrees with that. But it doesn't need to be that way. So I'm just asking if we can all be respectful and all be adults and try to remember that the election is 11 months away, and that we don't need to do hand gestures like some people are doing in the audience like that. We don't need to be infantile. We don't need to do this. People are going to be elected, people are going to be not elected. That's just what happens in an election. I really don't understand why we have to be children. I will never understand. As the youngest person on the board, as the youngest person in the building right now, I honestly will never understand why we have to be so infantile. It's something that I just wish as a board we could just stop. Thank you. Hour and a half.
Just one comment. Tonight, I was prepared to come to this board and due to the problem with my wife and stuff, and then my resignation as a trustee. But that's not going to happen because a certain individual put out a notice in a certain column that stated that my family was trash. And I talked to nothing but trashy people. Well, I felt that evidently he meant over 2/3 of this town, because I talked to every resident in this town I see. I've been here for over 40-some years. So I just want to remind that gentleman that you call over half the resident population of this town trash. And you know what? After I discussed this with my wife, she says, and I asked an apology from the mayor and the board of trustees. Buddy, I will run for trustee. And that's all. Thank you.
Just a couple of things. More than a couple. Director Jazinski, thank you very much for talking about the grass cutting. I have received several phone calls about people about grass not being cut. And I think many residents don't realize the difficulty your office has in trying to locate property owners and finding people and all that garbage that goes on. The average citizen doesn't understand what steps you must go through to get it done. So I was glad that you gave that overview. so that they'll better understand that when the grass is not getting cut, there's a reason for it. It's not because people up here are just sitting on their hands and not doing anything. So thank you again for that. One thing, a couple of months ago, I made a suggestion about a bicycle repair program that was going to benefit the youth in Sauk Village who didn't have bicycles. I'm retracting any suggestions about that program. I will not be involved in doing anything of that nature. And it's unfortunate because our Sauk Village children are affected. And we always do it. We always do this. We do things that affect the children first. Senior citizens, we get it later. Children come first as far as I'm concerned. And we do a lot of things, excuse me? You run your mouth a lot. Well, ask her not to interrupt me.
I don't keep talking to you.
Can we not just interrupt the board? Can we just let people speak?
Yeah, did you hear that? Jeez.
You got a problem, you know, we can talk after the meeting.
No, we don't have to. We can talk right now. We can talk right now. I'm having a discussion and you want to sit and make little comments and you've been doing. Point of order do what? Point of order do what?
Trustee?
Do what?
Trustee.
No, you get control of your clerk. Get control of your clerk. Get control of your clerk.
Come on, trustee.
That's harsh.
Yeah, me too, I'm ready.
You can leave now. The next thing, to the resident who
Deputy Clerk is here.
who spoke about
I don't need to be
the appropriations commit ordinance, there is a provision that says that there has to be a public hearing and that should be made available 10 days before we adopt that ordinance. So they just voted on appropriations ordinance that did not follow the state rules, what I've read. Now the attorney is sitting here and he can tell you something different if he wants. But from what I read, it was done improperly. The next thing is, we don't have a treasurer, and I wasn't aware until the village treasurer got into trouble, that we should have a treasurer at every meeting who gives a report at that meeting. And we don't have a treasurer, and I haven't heard anyone who's been designated or they've been handed a slip of paper to say, here's the treasury report for Sauk Village. That has not been done. So I think that needs to be done. The next thing is, I had asked the police chief about, the conversation came up about computers not working and the software not being applicable and talking to Calcom. And I asked the police chief when was that going to be corrected. He correctly said he's not an IT person. But I think we have Gerald Pike who could possibly look into why we have computers in our vehicles, our first responder vehicles in Sauk Village, but we can't talk to Calcom. And we just spent over $200,000 on computers and software. And I think it's time we get some answers or get some results. We can't get any refunds. I asked Mr. Mohan for documents of the computers we purchased and the software we purchased. And that was about a month ago, and I haven't received that yet. So I don't even know if the computers were purchased or not, or the software was purchased or not. I can only talk about what I actually know. Okay?
You wanted an answer to that?
To what?
Your question about the computers.
As to when they're going to be operational?
They are 100% operational as of today.
Okay. That wasn't in your report. But okay.
It's 100% today.
Okay, if that had been in your report, I would have made the comment. That wasn't in your report. The last time we talked, you said you weren't an IT person.
You're right.
And you could not tell me when they would be operational.
I just got that email late today.
Okay, fine. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That our officers now have functional computers.
For the first time in decades.
Okay.
Just the first time in decades they've had fully functional computers where they can run license plates on their in-car computers. Because when I came here, their lead certification, which is the certification they need to run license plates, were all expired. Okay? Just throwing that out there for you.
Well, thank you for throwing it out there. I appreciate it. The next thing is that Since drill pipe is not needed now because the computers are functional and the software is functional, I think that's good for our first responders, that they now could better do their job. Not that they couldn't do them without the computers working, but it's perhaps a little easier now that they have vehicles and they have computers that work. And I think as in the fire department have computers in some of their vehicles, so everyone's able to communicate with Calcom. And I think that's a good thing, that all of our first responders are now able to communicate with where they need to communicate to safeguard the residents of Sauk Village. That's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, that door is locked.
Someone needs to open that door. Who closed that door?
And,
What's the close?
that's what, right, that's what.
Residents, you can't close that door. Please keep your hands off the doors, leave them open.
But it was.
And Frank, can you prop that door open again, please? Can you prop that door open again, please, Frank? Put that back down. Thank you very much. All right, Trustee Jones.
Well, I'm pretty sure certain person campaigned at the last person campaigned for the last 10 minutes. Good luck with that. But Parks and Recs committee meeting will be June 2nd, which is always the first Thursday of the month. For Public Works, there's a Public Works Facebook page, and the hydrant flushing is also on there too. And there was a pretty good turnout for the registration for summer camp. And there will be another summer camp registration this Saturday from noon to 2. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Jones, I got a question. Is the summer camp put on by the Parks and Recs, or is it put on by you?
It's co-sponsored by Parks and Recs. And
because I didn't see anywhere on any of the flyers that said Sauk Village Parks and Recs. It just had sponsored by you.
no, it doesn't say sponsored, it says contact us.
I think you better look at your flyer again. Because I was looking to see who was put on it. I didn't see anything about Parks and Recs.
No, contact, and I'm in conjunction with Patricia Denson, and that's rsocdenson.com there. So if you want to take a look at that too.
I just make sure, because I didn't see anywhere. Did it say anywhere in your flyers Sauk Village Parks and Recs?
No,
So Parks and Recs says
it's on the flyer. That's the flyer. It's a flyer.
Okay. So
Okay, man.
is Parks and Recs involved?
Absolutely. It's a flyer to bring out kids for the summer camp. I'm not campaigning on Parks and Recs, and I'm not campaigning, and Parks and Recs isn't campaigning, so why toot anyone's horn? Information is put out there. I don't understand where we're going with it.
I'm asking because you're having a summer youth camp, but it says at the bottom of your flyer, sponsored by Trustee Jones, but I see nothing on here about Sauk Village Parks and Recs.
Okay.
So
I mean, what are we going with?
I'm asking is if you're putting this on not the Parks and Recs, are you paying for the community center? Let's see, the reason I asked.
You can take this wherever you want to take it to, but I mean, where are you going with this?
I'm just asking because, residents, the Parks and Recs, if it's something that's put on Parks and Recs, it should be sponsored.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Maybe I'll have that changed on the flyer.
Well, I'm just asking because when you look at, I put on the event, and I rented the community center when I'm the mayor. I didn't take advantage of using it. Trustee Meyer's family had an event. They rented the community center. If you're putting something on for yourself and you're sponsoring it, then it should be paid for.
And everyone in here that has a brain knows that I'm not sponsoring a camp. Well, I mean, what is the cynical stuff that we're trying to go through?
Well, if you're not, then why does your flyer, anyone with a brain, Sponsored by
maybe
trustee Calvin Jones.
there's an oversight, okay? And I'll change
But
the
anyone with a brain can read sponsored by
Okay,
trustee
there's an
Calvin Jones.
oversight, and I'll change, so everyone knows that Parks and Rec is involved in this 100%.
They're not advertising it under Parks
Okay,
and Rec.
I'm not advertising. What is this, 2-year-old? We playing 2-year-old games, sir? I mean, are we seriously playing 2-year-old games?
I'm asking.
Or can we please get to the bottom of this? And what is your personal gripe
It
against me?
seems like you're going on the defensive for someone.
Yes, I am.
Who's not
Because
guilty.
you're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be the
And that's why I'm
leader. You're
asking
supposed to be
questions.
the head.
And that's why I'm
Now,
asking
if you're the head and you're the leader,
So-
if anything, you could have emailed me like you said. You just seen this? Did you just see this?
Trustee, I'm asking.
No, did you just see this?
You're going on the defensive.
No, yes, I am. Yes, I'm
Usually a guilty
this
person goes on the
because
defensive.
we are talking about things that are going on for the youth out here, and you're going to play a 2-year-old game. So I'm going to ask you like you asked other trustees, did you just see this?
I just-
And why did you email me previous to this?
You
If you knew about this, Mr. Mayor, unless you want to come here and get some cookie points, but if you knew about this before the residents, why didn't you email me about
Well,
it?
trustee, who put that flyer out? You?
If you knew about, if there was a mistake,
Trustee, who
I
put
put
the
it
flyer?
out there.
Okay, and you
If
just
there
have
was a
to say, you must have not proofread or not known what you put on your flyer.
Okay.
Because you said co-sponsor and your flyer was very clear.
If you had seen this, and instead of trying to get cookie points out here in front of the residents, you could have easily emailed me or gave me a phone call. Trustee Jones, I see you may have made a small oversight, or is this true? Are you sponsoring this? Or if not?
That's what I just asked.
No, you wait till you get up here, and then you're gonna get 10 minutes at the end of the end here, and then you're gonna campaign for another 10 minutes. So, but if you had any questions for me, you could have easily called me. You have my number. You got my email
You have my
address,
number
and
too,
you can have easily asked that question.
And you have my number too. So it goes both ways. So, you have anything else? I'm not on the defensive, so. Trustee Washington, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to ask the residents, I got a phone call from one of my very faithful Block Club captains tonight, Ed Sullivan, and I just want to ask you all if you all will remember him and his wife in your prayers. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Those of you that know him, you can contact him if you have any questions, but I would ask you if you would keep Mr. Ed Sullivan in your prayers and his wife. Also, I would just like to piggyback off of something that I heard Trustee Meyer say, just in regard to his own personal sentiments in regard to some things that he had heard about him and his wife and his character. You know, it's just such a travesty that people feel they could just say anything about anybody that they want to, and there's no repercussion because you are an elected official. Me personally, when I was not an elected official and I sat in the audience when Lewis Towers was the mayor, I saw some things that I didn't really agree with, and I made a decision to run for trustee, and I lost. And I ran again in 2 years and I won. And I tell people when I talk to them all the time, if you don't like what you see, run and make a change. Why are you constantly badgering elected officials that are here to serve? I can speak for my own committee, doing miscellaneous comments. My committee worked very hard, and I have to tell them all the time, guys, you all are being victimized basically because I'm the chair of Neighborhood Watch, but just take the high road. I tell parents all the time, people tell me that you all don't care about these book bags. They say, please give us one name of anybody who told you we don't care about our children having book bags and help with supplies going back to school. I wish you would tell me anybody that told you that. Just tell us a name based on some information that was sent to my phone that I read. It's just a travesty that we campaign and we do come here to serve a community. We made a decision to serve. Every last one of us sitting up here, you can resign any day you want to. But the people elected all of us that's sitting here to serve you, the entire village of Sauk Village. So I just want to say to you, Trustee Myers, as a co-trustee, I know it can be disheartening, some of the things that you hear, but I would just tell you to my mother was a pastor and a great one. She taught us to take the high road in life. Some of the things that come out of people's mouth, I cannot even believe that they would stoop that low to even say those kind of words, especially put it in print about all of us that sit up here. But we are here to serve. And sometimes you have to take the low with the low. But I do appreciate all of you and all of your endeavors, even when we don't get along, even when we have a difference of opinion. At the end of the day, if we get a phone call at midnight about this village, all 6 of us and the mayor and the clerk have to be out here to come up with a conclusion that's best for this village. So you can't stop what people say. You can't stop people's personal innuendos and agendas and who they're trying to represent by saying certain things. We can all meet outside of this village and talk about issues. People ask me questions up here. If you really wanted to know the answer, you could have called me on my phone, you could have emailed me, you could ask me outside, but people ask things in front of people just to incite certain emotions and feelings. I'm a master at that, but I choose not to do it up here. But know that it is noted. And things that you think that we don't know nothing about, we know all about it. And it makes the children suffer, it makes the residents suffer, because the people sit here and laugh and you think it's funny. Ed Sullivan, a lot of people may consider him a person that get on your nerves. I like Mr. Sullivan, he's colorful. He gets on my nerves too. But he's one of my block club captains. Like I told him today, I'm gonna miss you and I'm gonna be praying very hard for you and for your family. Some people can't take it all the time. That's bullying. A lot of it is just social media bullying. But just remember, at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror and go to bed, I hope that you can see some of the things that you say about people. And that concludes my statement.
Okay, Trustee Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know where to go with this, because this is, if anybody can remember what happened 4 years ago, same thing is going on now. And we vowed that we wouldn't let this happen. We said we wanted a different community. We said we wanted a different leadership rather than to go back and forth. Then we talked about economic development. We talked about trying to do something for this village. And we're sitting here right here. There's so much dissension. This has happened, like I said before. We've had people stand up over people because they didn't agree with them. If you cannot handle the seat, then you don't need to be in the seat, because you're going to be criticized. And to come back, because they talk about me, it doesn't bother me. As long as they're paying my bills and they stop my money, I got a problem with that. But talking about me, fine. I know that going in, that's going to happen. You're going to have criticism. It can be constructive or otherwise, but you're going to have people that don't like you. You're going to have people that don't agree with you. No one has 100% of anything. But if you're going to sit back and talk about people behind their back, make reference to them, be man enough or woman enough to mention their name. If I don't like you, I say I don't like you. But to sit up there and have meetings or whatever and talk about someone you think is not going to get back, you might as well say who their name is, which one gentleman did say who he was and made mention. And he was man enough to say who he didn't like and who was lying. I really tell you the truth. I respect the gentleman that actually called my name out in the meeting. That's great, because now he's not trying to hide. That's respectful. But we're not here as a popularity contest, and I just want to let everybody understand that we're here for your money, to make sure that what you give to this village is spent wisely, intelligently, that we can get $1 for $1, not up here to spend money just because. We watch your money. When the feds come in and ask, where's the money? They're not going to go to the mayor unless it was a tie. They're going to come to this board and say, did you vote on this? And if you did, there's a truck out there waiting for you. You should sit in there too. But this is what it's about. We're here to take care of the business, not a popularity contest. Not to come here and try to win an election. Sit here and talk for 15, 20 minutes about I. This is everybody is involved in this village. Those that choose to come out, I commend them, because they come out to see where their dollar's going. Now, whether or not they feel like it or don't like it, We as elected officials can't judge that. If you don't go along with me, I'm mad at you, but I'm here to make sure that your money is spent correctly. That's all I'm here for. To make sure that the decision this board has made, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna bring it to the people. I will bring it out to you, let you know this is what's going on. Whether you like it or not, I'm sorry. But I think that's why you elected me. That's why you elected all of us. It's not because, oh, I like him or I don't like him, he makes me mad. That's not about that. And if we don't get this together, we're talking about economic development, economic who? Who's gonna come in here and they see this? If you're gonna go out to, and then we patronize what? I mean, you have businesses that are out here, but we don't patronize them. Some businesses, they don't need to be patronized because they have a bad product. And those businesses, I come to them and tell them. But other places where they're shopping at, we as a village need to go there and make sure that they're giving the people a chance. Not to walk in a dark dungeon and try to make it out of the store in the darkness. I mean, police officers, yes. We need police officers, but let me tell you something, and I'm going to be on record. Police officers don't stop crime. They come after the crime is committed. Residents stop crime. You get involved in your neighborhood, you get involved with your neighbor, you have somebody, you look out and you call the police. If you see something, that's who your first person is that you talk to, is you call to your neighbor. Your neighbors get involved in the neighborhood. The more you get involved, the less crime you're going to have in your neighborhood because they know if they're over there too long, they'll call the police. So the police are there to mop up, which that's what they're supposed to do. Because if they're there to stop crime, what happens when they leave your house, leave your neighborhood? They already know, but you already know what's going to happen. So I just hope, I'm not sitting here, I'm tired of this. You know, we thought we had this before, it hasn't changed. The players are still the same, but we need to come together if we want to. Quit bashing each other. You're all in here, nobody's better than no one else. You have people that have been here for 40 years, 30 years, whatever. You've been here all this time. I know for a fact what happened when I moved in, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Because I knew what I was moving into. But I chose to stay here. So no one's better than anybody else. Don't just thumb your nose up because guess what? We all, every last person in here has to go before one person. Think about it. I just want to be in line behind some of these people. Thank you.
All righty. Go through this real quick. The reminder village hall will be closed on May 30th. Reminder that there's going to be a Memorial Day service on May 30th. Kevin, I'm going to need some stuff done as we prepare, so maybe we can get that done before the end of the week or something. So I'll get with you on those. There's some talk about WinPAC, and I think what residents need to be happy that we have a business expanding. Think about it, it's 100 more jobs, 350,000 square feet addition, manufacturing in Cook County, and not only in Illinois, when manufacturers are leaving the state. This should be something that we should be proud of, not something that we're complaining about because we didn't get our picture taken. WinPAC was one that sent the invitations out. I did what I was elected to do. I went to a groundbreaking and represented the village of Sauk Village. So I was invited, I went. So this last week, it was attended the South Suburban Mayors and Managers meeting, just so the residents know. Got a good talk with Congresswoman Kelly, and had some conversations with State Representative LG Sims. LG Sims is currently in Washington, D.C., so he's working there on behalf of Village of Sauk Village on some funding that there may be some federal money. So thank Representative Sims for everything that he's doing in Washington. He's representing all his communities, but again, Sauk Village is one of his communities. So we're very thankful for everything he's doing while he's in Springfield. The summer camp, I have to be honest with you, I support it. I have posted the information out, but one of the questions came up about me being a leader. Again, being a leader is making sure you ask the questions. And sometimes they're the hard questions. I didn't go on the defensive tonight. I asked a question. Again, we have an ordinance to follow. We've got committees. Those committees are supposed to be working together. They consist of two individuals, and they're supposed to both agree when they have events. So those are questions that should come up. I asked a question about a flyer. First of all, I got one answer, and then we got another answer, and we didn't get the answer, the correct answer, until I pointed out exactly what the flyer said. So if it's a Parks and Recs, you know, again, I support it. If you go to the mayor's Facebook page, it's posted. I got a blog out there. I got the flyer out there. So making sure residents know about it. You think about the fundraisings and events. Village of Sauk Village, we've always had to have fundraisers for the events. Public relations, think about all the fundraisers they did just so we could have events, just so we could have student government days. The Neighborhood Watch Committee, all the money they've raised, so they put out 500 book bags. They didn't come back and say, I want the money for those book bags so I can go off and do it. They went out there and raised the money. They did all the hard work. That's what it takes to have any committees in this community. You have to be willing to go out there. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to do the fundraisings. You're going to have to get out there and reach out and talk to the residents. So it's nothing new. It's the way it's always been, and it's the way it will always be. Okay. Tonight, I think trustees have voted for the budget. It's passed, and we have appropriations budget. So now we can go ahead and we can pay. The important thing is, think about this. We're looking at, there's capital expenditures that's going to happen over in Public Works. I know Kevin's excited about that. But we're also looking at additional, the hiring, this budget this year, put additional people in the administration, put in police department, and additional people in Public Works. So when Kevin talks about all the work and he doesn't have time, and there's certain things he's behind on, you know, this budget included, I think it was 4 part-time Public Works employees, which will help him when needing to mow the grass and that kind of stuff. Again, police department, we put a big push on fighting crime. I ran on fighting crime. I continue to fight crime. Now we're going to continue to fight crime. This budget puts additional police officers on the street, and that's what's important, is to be able to get these going. So, you know, and then lastly, we talked about our budgets and how they've gone. You know, our budgets every year have gotten better. When I became mayor, there was $1.9 million in the back. We've reduced it by 1.4. So, you know, when you look at the budgets we're putting together, that's what's important to realize and take a look. The proof is in the numbers. So, with that said, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, motion, is there a second? Is there a second? We got a motion second, all in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. What's that?